Night Beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. Stories start in many different ways. This one began with a crash on the highway and ended with a whole city fighting for its life.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
Joe's Diner is located about 10 miles out of town on the highway going north to St. Paul. Joe caters to the truck drivers who wrestle those big 20-ton diesel jobs. You know, the ones that scare the pants off you when you have to hedge over to the side of the road so that they can pass. It's strictly a man's spot. The steaks are juicy, and the conversation even juicier. I stop in there once in a while myself to take on a little of Joe's home cooking and improve my vocabulary, like tonight.
All right.
With these eggs, they still alive.
Joe, I gotta get my truck rolling.
Oh, how many hands you think I got? Like an octopus?
I grabbed a stool at the counter and waited for Joe to catch up with me. Joe, scrambled eggs when you get to it.
I'll be with you in a minute, Mr. Stone.
Fried and butter, Joe. Lots of butter.
How else?
Good. I'm starved.
9 o'clock. You ain't had your supper yet?
No, that's breakfast. I'm just starting out.
Oh. You're as bad as one of these truck drivers. Here, this'll hold you.
Joe banged a cup of coffee on the counter in front of me, and then it happened. It was a desperate shriek of brakes and a terrific crash out on the highway. In 5 seconds, a dozen men were on their feet racing for the door. Holy mackerel. Call the cops, Joe. Tell them to send an ambulance. It was almost a quarter of a mile away, but long before I got there, I could make out the shape of a big semi-trailer truck, and jammed into its rear end a brand-new sedan. We still had about 100 yards to go when the truck roared up and started pulling itself loose from the wrecked car. Get his license number, somebody. But the guy on the truck hadn't put his lights on, and he pulled away before anyone could get close enough. The sedan was there over on one side, and it was a mess. The boys got the car right side up and dragged the driver out. He was soused to the gills. In a little while, the cops were there working him over. And then I saw this other guy over by the ditch across the road. Hey, you all right?
Run out on me. Run out.
Who ran out on you? Are you hurt?
Look, mister, I gotta get away from here.
I see you were in the truck.
Yeah, I was in the truck. Look, I gotta see a doctor. This hand of mine.
Cops will take care of it for you until the ambulance gets here.
I don't need no ambulance.
Here's another one over here, Sergeant.
Okay.
I tell you, I can make it okay.
Well, hello, Stone. How did you get here? Fly?
How are you, Sergeant?
This fellow in the wreck?
He was in the truck.
Yeah? What's your name?
Harry Waldo.
Driver's helper?
No, I just bummed a ride. The guy gave me a ride about 100 miles back.
Where do you live?
Here, Chicago.
You get the license number of the truck?
No, I didn't pay no attention.
What was the driver's name, Waldo?
I didn't ask him.
Well, who was he driving for? Was there a sign on the truck?
No, it was dark when he picked me up. I didn't notice.
What was he hauling?
What should I know? I just bummed a ride. Say, who is this guy, officer? Do I have to answer his questions?
It won't hurt any.
Was it a refrigerated truck?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's the first thing you seem sure of. How come?
Oh, it was kind of all beat up, and... Well, it just didn't seem like no icebox, that's all.
This guy's trying to play hide-and-go-seek with you, Sergeant. That truck was a cooler, and he knows it.
How come you're so sure?
Ammonia gas. Can't you smell it? It's all over the place, including your overalls. Hose connection must have broken in the crack-up.
Look, wise guy, whoever you are...
Randy Stone, Chicago Star.
This officer wasn't
Come on. None of that now.
Okay. I'm in the truck. There's a crash, and I get out to see what hit us. And while I'm on the ground, a truck driver pulls out on me. So what does that make me, a suspect in a murder case? Or just paperboy just looking for a story?
Oh, sure. I'm always looking for a story. Brother, this sure has the makings of one. A fish story. The sergeant got a few more vital statistics on Harry Waldo and then let him go with the usual business about keeping in touch in case the police wanted him for further questioning. After the mob cleared, I went over the area again in the dark. There was nothing. In the ditch, I noticed a battered-up wooden box, the kind they ship butter in. There was nothing there. So I went back into Joe's and phoned the story into my paper. I told the city desk where I could be reached, and then I got busy on that much-delayed order of scrambled eggs. Oh, they're good, Joe.
The others got cold. I made them fresh. Lots of butter, the way you like.
Thanks, Joe.
I can't get over that truck running out on the crash. What do you want to do that for? Must have known it wasn't his fault.
Well, who knows, Joe? Maybe he had a date.
Yeah. Hello? Joe's Diner. Joe's talking. Yeah. Hold on. It's for you, Mr. Stone. Take it in the booth.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Andy, this is Mac on the desk.
Oh, well, that figures.
On that crash story you phoned in, is that all you can give us?
What else do you want?
How about the truck? What was it hauling?
I'm sorry, Mac. All I know is what I phoned in.
Did you ask around?
Well, of course I asked. Nobody knows. If you'd like to send out one of your better men for a follow-up...
Funny stuff, Randy. Could the truck have been hauling butter?
Butter? Why?
Something came in on the wires this afternoon. I thought we could tie it in with the truck running out.
How?
I'll read it to you. It's date line Emerson, Manitoba, Canada. This city, hard hit by recent floods, reports theft of 21 tons of contaminated butter, which was being removed from the Ajax Creamery for disposal.
Contaminated?
The condemned butter, bearing the trade name of Dandy D, had been submerged for 3 weeks in stagnant sewage water because of recent flood conditions. Health authorities have expressed fears the butter may become the cause of a widespread typhoid epidemic.
Typhoid?
You think there could be any connection, Randy?
20 tons of typhoid fever in Chicago?
It makes sense, Randy. It's only a little over 900 miles from the border, 2 days by fast truck. And it's a cinch they'd have a tough time getting rid of it any closer. Randy, you still there?
Yeah. I'm not feeling so good when I'm here.
What's the matter with you?
Just feeling that I'm on the verge of a story, one that I can do without. I ran back out to the ditch where I'd seen the wooden box. It was there all right. My heart sank when I lit a match and read the words, #1 Creamery Butter, Canada. Then I kicked the box over and saw a couple of greasy packages. There was some sort of a wrapping on them. When I read the words Dandy D, I began feeling bugs crawling down my throat. I went back to Joe's and got all the newspaper I could find and a pair of cotton gloves to boot. Then I picked up the box, put it in my car, and drove down to the Star. Mac's eyes popped through his glasses when he saw it. He got some Board of Health official out of bed and gave him the story over the phone. By the time we were through taking pictures, they had a crew of experts there to haul the stuff down to the lab for analysis. In the meantime, I helped Mac fix up a spread for the morning paper in the biggest, blackest type we had.
Well, does that make you feel any better, Randy?
That sure does. That warning ought to make a suspect out of every pound of butter in town. Nobody could possibly buy the stuff now. They'll have to ditch it.
Randy, there's over $10,000 worth of butter on that truck. Typhoid or no typhoid, those guys are going to try to sell it.
But how can they?
No trick to change the wrapper. Only one way to stop them. Find the truck.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell them that down at police headquarters.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
All right.
Close that door. City desk. Yeah, Mac talking. Oh, you did? You sure? Yeah. Yeah, we'll do all we can. Yeah, thanks for calling.
Who was it?
On your way down to police headquarters, Randy, you can take a little time out to pray. That was the lab man from the Board of Health.
Well, what was the verdict?
That butter is crawling with pestilence and death.
Typhoid?
Pestilence and death. Those were his exact words.
NBC is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. The NBC chimes are laughing, but they're not keeping the reason a secret. They want everyone to know they're laughing in anticipation of the mad and merry antics in store with two NBC fall favorites, Bob Hope and Groucho Marx. Hope returns to the air over most of these stations on Tuesday evening, October 3rd, just 1 week from tomorrow. Groucho Marx brings his laugh-filled quiz game, You Bet Your Life, to NBC beginning Wednesday, October 4th. Listen when you hear the three chimes for laughs and more laughs with Bob Hope on October 3rd and Groucho Marx on October 4th. And now back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
At first, the police treated the typhoid butter story like it was a circulation builder for the Star. But bad news travels fast, and by the time I got in to see Police Chief Captain Sorensen, he'd heard all about it. He was a very worried man.
Hello, Randy. Come down to help me word my resignation?
Oh, it's that bad, huh?
Haven't got a thing.
What about that Waldo fellow who was on the truck? Have you picked him up?
He forgot to arrive home after the accident.
Well, that truck's got a hold up someplace.
I've set up roadblocks. I've sent out patrols. There's not a back alley in this city that won't be searched tonight. But we still have no real description of the truck.
Well, have you checked all cold storages and creameries?
First thing, nothing's come in.
You know, Mac thinks they may change the wrappers on the butter. Maybe if you call the printers.
No good, Randy. You can buy wax butter wrappers in any paper supply house. This thing has been pretty well thought out.
Well, no use my adding to the confusion around here. I mind if I go down to this Waldo's place and have a look around?
Of course not. It's a boarding house over on St. Mary's Avenue. But look out for the old lady who runs the place. She'll talk you into a corner and keep you there.
Don't worry about me, Captain. With little old ladies, I come out fighting all the time. It was 11:30 when I pulled up in front of Harry Waldo's address. It was one of those sad-looking houses that seemed to be held together by memories of what they used to be 40 years ago. Now there was a sign in front that read, Furnished Rooms. Mrs. Angela Barr. I rang and waited. Someone had drawn the curtains apart a little and was giving me the once-over.
Yes,
Mrs. Barr,
yes. What is it?
can you open the door, please? It's urgent.
Goodness gracious, you police are the most persistent...
I'm not with the police, Mrs. Barr.
Not with the police. But you must be. They've been coming and going all night long.
No. I'm a newspaper reporter on the Star. My name is
A
Ren.
newspaper reporter. What a pleasant surprise. I declare I'm so excited. You must come in the kitchen and I'll make a cup of coffee.
No, thanks very much. You're very kind, but I really
What
must...
did you say your name was?
Stone, Randy Stone.
Oh, yes, of course. You sure you wouldn't like some coffee?
No, nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Barr. Oh, goodness, she's awake.
Mrs. Barr, who is it?
It's all right, Nancy. It's just a visitor. Go back to sleep, dear.
Is Mommy home? I'm scared.
Now, there's nothing to be afraid of. Your mother will be home in a little while. Just go back to sleep like a good girl.
All right.
That's quite a cough.
Yes, the child has had such a cold. Poor Ellen is worried sick about her.
Ellen?
Her mother, Ellen Spencer. She's one of my tenants.
Oh, yes. Look, Mrs. Barr, I wanted to ask you some questions about another of your tenants.
Oh, yes. Mr. Waldo. The police have been bothering me all night. Whatever has he done? The police wouldn't tell me.
Well, he's done plenty. He's stolen a truckload of butter from the flood area up north.
Stolen?
Well, that's not all. That butter is contaminated with typhoid. If it ever gets into circulation, we'll...
Oh, how dreadful. How very dreadful.
Mrs. Barr, I have a favor to ask.
Now, how could I possibly do you a favor, Mr. Stone?
I'd like to have a look at Mr. Waldo's room.
But the police have already been through his room.
Yes, I know, but you know how it is when you've got to write a story. There's nothing like seeing it firsthand.
But at this time of night, do I have to let you in?
Well, legally, no.
Well, then,
You mean you refuse?
not exactly. Only surely a rich and powerful paper like the Star. Now that Mr. Waldo has disappeared, I'm sure I'll never get the rent he owes me.
Yes, I see. Now, how much?
Oh, dear. Money is so hard to come by when you're old and alone. Now, if I had the $50, Mr. Waldo...
It's worth 10.
So little.
Oh.
Oh, but then you're such a nice young man. And I do enjoy your newspaper so much. I'll take it.
Her bright little eyes glistened as she took the 10 spot. Well, I guess it's like that when you're old. You can't eat too well. You can't sleep too well. You see life slipping by, but a 10 spot is something you can smooth out, put away, and look at again and again. Mrs. Barr followed me around as I went through Waldo's room. For a change, she had very little to say. I opened the drawers in his dresser. I looked under the bed. The kid in the next room was coughing again. I opened the closet door, and the smell that hit me was sharply familiar. Ammonia. In the corner, I picked up a pair of overalls that were saturated with the stuff. My friend Waldo had been home and changed. The phone downstairs started to ring.
Oh, dear, the telephone.
Want me to get down and answer it?
No, it's probably Ellen. She's so worried about the child. Will you come down now?
Just another minute.
Oh, dear. You won't be long.
I'd like to borrow these overalls if it's all right. Probably covered with germs.
Hello.
Wow, hello.
What are you doing in Mr. Waldo's room? Are you a burglar?
No, of course not. I'm one of Mr. Waldo's friends.
Then can you tell me when my Uncle Jim is coming back? He was going to bring me something from his trip.
Well, that's nice. Where did Uncle Jim go?
He went away with Mr. Waldo in the truck. But Mr. Waldo is back and not Uncle Jim.
Oh, does he drive a truck, your Uncle Jim?
He doesn't drive it. He owns it. And he gives me a ride in it, too.
Mm-hmm. Your Uncle Jim live here?
Oh, yes. Uncle Jim is my really real uncle. He and my mommy are brothers.
Oh, yes, I see.
Nancy, you naughty child.
Mrs. Barr.
The idea of getting out of bed.
I heard a noise.
Back to bed with you, child. That was your mother on the phone.
All right, Mrs. Barr. Good night, Mr. Burglar.
Good night, Nancy.
Imagine that child leaving her bed. Was she with you long, Mr. Stone?
Oh, no, she just told me she had an Uncle Jim.
Oh, yes. That's Ellen's brother. He's one of my other roomers.
I understand he owns a truck.
He's someplace in Ohio now, I believe. Been gone almost a month.
Couldn't have been Canada.
Questions. You'll simply have to excuse me. I must give that child her medicine. Good night, Mr. Stone.
I'd used up my $10 worth of welcome, so I drove over to police headquarters and filled in Captain Sorensen on Harry Waldo's overalls and little Nancy's Uncle Jim. It was his first lead. He called motor vehicles and ordered a fast check on the truck owned by Jim Spencer, and then he started briefing me on the more recent developments.
The city's in a panic, Randy. Warnings have been going out on the radio every 15 minutes. We've been flooded with calls from the mayor down.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone with a gut ache is sure it's typhoid and wants us to send down a doctor. Come in.
Here's the dope on the truck, Captain.
Now we're getting somewhere. All right. Broadcast this and keep repeating it every half hour. Get it?
Yes, sir.
We'll get him now.
Well, you might try and sound a little more convincing. I left Sorensen chewing his upper lip. Then I headed for the Blue Angel and a little talk with Jim Spencer's sister, Ellen. The Blue Angel wasn't meant to lure the better-class citizen away from his hearth and home. It smelled of stale beer and looked as if it were being lit by half a dozen fireflies. I found an empty booth and asked a waitress if Ellen Spencer worked there, and after a while a girl came over. She was attractive in a tired sort of way.
You asked for me?
Will you sit down, Ellen? I've got to talk to you.
I brought you some drinks. It's the rules here. If we sit with a customer, they gotta buy us drinks.
That's okay.
What'd you want?
To talk.
What about?
Your brother Jim.
You a cop?
No.
What about Jim?
Where is he?
I don't know. What business is it of yours?
When did your brother and Harry Waldo leave on their last trip?
A week ago.
Mrs. Barr said Jim was in Ohio.
Ah, that old hag. She's in his second childhood.
Mm-hmm. Jim hasn't phoned you tonight?
No. What's all the noise about anyway? The kid gets scared and runs out in a traffic accident, so they'll catch him and give him 30 days. He'll be back.
Who told you about it?
I heard it over the radio.
Really? How did you know it was Jim?
Well,
You spoke to Harry.
Yeah. He phoned me to tell me Jim was all right.
Did he tell you they were hauling a load of stolen butter? Did you listen to the warnings over the radio about that butter? It's loaded with typhoid, that stuff is.
Oh, that's a lie. Just a smart police gag to get the butter back.
Harry tell you that, too? We got some of that butter, Ellen. It's been soaked in sewer bilge for a month.
Jim wouldn't touch anything like that. He's a good kid.
Maybe Jim thinks it's a gag, too. Might even get to eat some of the stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about. Look, mister, I'd better go back to work.
Ellen, you want it on the phone.
I'll have to leave now.
If you hear from Jim, tell him what he's up against.
Yeah. Yeah, I will.
And tell him to wash his hands. Good. I followed her to the phone booth or whatever the call was. It was brief. She hung right up, so I went outside, watched her through the door. In a few minutes, she came out wearing a coat. I slipped around the corner, watched her climb into a cab. I jumped into my car and followed. Cab stopped in front of her house. I parked my car half a block away, waited until all the lights went off, and then I got out and walked around to the back of the house. Somewhere inside were the directions to that missing butter. It was easy raising one of the kitchen windows. I climbed in. I stood for a minute, getting used to the dark. And then suddenly a switch flicked on, and the place was flooded with light. Randy Stone, Esquire, standing there, stupidly blinking his eyes. Ellen walked a few steps toward me. She didn't scream. She didn't holler.
Isn't this carrying your job a little too far?
I knocked on the door, but nobody answered, so I turned the knob.
Well, turn it again and get out.
Somebody phoned you just before I left the Blue Angel. Was that Jim?
That's none of your business. Now get out.
If I go, Ellen, the place will be swarming with police in 15 minutes.
What do you mean?
Just this. You know where Jim is. If you won't tell me, you'll have to tell the cops. And when you do, you'll be involved. They'll make you an accessory.
Well, let him.
Where's the old lady?
Out for a drive.
At 1:30 in the morning?
She's the one who phoned me. She said she was going batty with cops hanging around. She had to get out of the house.
Ellen, for the last time, where's Jim?
I told you before, I don't know.
They're closing in on him. You'll be doing him a favor if they get him before he's sold any of that stuff.
Oh, are you still working that typhoid gag?
It's no gag, believe me. You want the lab report on it?
No.
All right, then listen to it this way. Maybe you'll understand it. The kid sits down to eat, and his mother hands him a piece of bread and butter, only it's not butter. Something has been lying around in the filthy sewer water for a long time. 10 or 11 days, the kid gets sick, like your kid. He's burning with fever one minute, and the next minute he's as cold as ice. His tongue is thick, and his guts feel like they're bursting. That's what typhoid is like.
Stop it, will you?
If a good doctor gets to him, the kid may live. Lots of kids may not be that lucky, Ellen. Also, you can keep your kid brother out of jail.
Look, I don't know where he is.
When did you talk to Waldo?
He phoned me at the club. He laughed about that typhoid
Where
stuff.
did he phone
I
from?
don't know. Someplace in town. Now, let me alone.
Would that be
I'll
it?
take that.
No, you won't. Ellen made a grab for the phone, but I beat her to it. She clawed at me. I had to get rough, but I got the receiver. Hello.
This is the long-distance operator.
Yes?
On your call to Elwood, we are unable to contact Mr. Jim Spencer. Shall we continue to try?
No, thank you. Was that Elwood?
Yes, sir. Elwood, Illinois. Thank you, sir.
That was it, so they'd gone on to Elwood. I called Captain Sorensen. He picked me up in a squad car with two of his best men. It was a 70-mile ride to Elwood, and we made it in a little over an hour. It was after 3 a.m. when the clerk at the only hotel in town showed us his register. There was no Waldo and no Spencer. Then Sorensen got a bright idea. He asked the clerk if there was a creamery in town. There wasn't. No cold storage plant either. Just old Mayor Hoskins' ice house down the road. We jumped into a car and drove over. That's nothing but an old barn.
Oh, there's a light around the back.
Randy, you come with me. You two cut around the other side of the building.
Right.
Oh, there's the truck. You see it?
Yeah.
All right, give me a lift, Captain. I'll see if I can get a look in through the window. It's Waldo.
They got the butter?
Yep. There's the other one. That must be Spencer.
Well, get down. We'll take them now. All right, Spencer, get him up.
Jim, the law.
Those hands up, Spencer. You're covered.
You too, Waldo. Don't try anything.
Who's trying anything?
Hold it, Captain. Hold it. Somebody else is coming.
Kill the lights. Don't make a sound, you two, if you want to live.
We pulled the big door shut, flicked off the lights, and waited in the dark. Guns pressed into Waldo and Spencer. A car had pulled up outside. Whoever it was seemed to be having a time with the door, and then finally it opened and the lights went on. Mrs. Barr.
Oh, goodness. How you startled me. Why, it's Mr. Stone. Have you been waiting long? And here I thought my lazy boys had gone to sleep.
No, they haven't.
And I suppose Harry Waldo has told you all about me. I just know he did.
Well, not everything. That is, not yet, he hasn't.
I just knew that boy had no character. And now I suppose you want to take me back to the city. But I hate Chicago in June. I don't think I'll go with you. Don't come any closer.
Drop it, lady. Okay, Mother. Randy, get the gun.
Yep.
Lady, don't you know these things explode?
Now, wasn't that foolish of me? I was going to try to get away. But where could I have gone? Where could an old lady go and hide? I do believe I'm getting senile. Isn't that a horrible word, Mr. Stone?
Mrs. Barr, this is no joking matter. Don't you understand that butter could have caused an epidemic?
Why, of course. Isn't it terrible?
Yet you were willing to sell it?
You didn't think I was going to eat it myself, did you? It was all I could do to look at the horrible stuff. But $10,000. That's such a lot of money to a poor old lady. Such a lot of money.
"10 a.m. and it's all buttoned up. Oh, brother, what a nightmare if a thing like that had ever happened. And all from ignorance and greed. What's that old wheeze about money being the root of all evil? Well, it's not just money. There's got to be a touch of insanity sprinkled in along with it. Like that poor old lady. Poor? When the cops ran a make on her, they uncovered a fascinating record of over 50 years of criminal history, not to mention a dozen bank accounts. Guess she didn't trust banks any too much. Such a sweet old doll. Well, at least I got to see the sun come up this morning while we were driving back, climbing up into the sky like a great big yellow ball of butter. Oh, no, what am I saying? Copy, boy.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis and edited by Larry Marcus. Tonight's story was written by Lou Rusoff and Russell Bender with music by Frank Worth. The part of Harry was played by Don Diamond. Jane Morgan was Mrs. Barr. Others in tonight's cast were Joan Banks, Nestor Paiva, Peter Leeds, Ann Whitfield, and Tudor Owen. Frank Lovejoy may currently...
Testing, check, one, two. Oh, fuck it. Let's do this shit, huh? Well, good morning out there, world. Good morning, Joey. How you doing, brother? How's it going, dude? What's up? How was your first day of the new year? Mine sucked. I was exhausted. We went and cleaned 3 houses before noon. Dude. We got started at 9 and got done with 3 houses by noon. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I came home, ate some Arby's, and passed the fuck out. I went to sleep at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I woke up at about 8:30 in the evening. Whew. Man, I finally crashed and burned hard. Every once in a while, it hits me, and I gotta go down. Last night, I got a couple of hours sleep. I'm back to the usual now. Back to the usual. Oh, I bet you're exhausted. Sheesh, 12-hour shift. Dude, I remember doing 12-hour shifts 5-6 days a week. Construction work. Ugh. Horrible stuff. Totally. I ordered 5 Big Sandy and his Fly Right Boys CDs last night. I was poking around and I found too good a deal. 5 CDs for $25. I had to do it. There you go. So, I'm getting my Big Sandy music on. Yeah, baby. Good. It's good stuff there, baby. It's good. I am here. I have made it to this morning's show. The traffic was unbearable. It was crazy. So much traffic between here and my bed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, hopefully the traffic will be calm this morning, because I don't want to get up and deal with dogs all morning. I don't. That is hot and sweet. Make sure it's not sticky on the bottom. I don't want my coffee cup to get hot and stick to my cup warmer there. It could happen. Well. Oh crap, that's right. I finished off my programming for the last week of February. Now I'm going to be working on the first week of March. Let me turn the page. Yep, the week of the 3rd through the 7th of March. There it is. There's a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to work on that for the next couple of days and try to get ahead into March so that starting Monday I can throw myself into my own stuff. Because I'm going to lose this first week of February. So I want to do a couple of weeks in March so that I am officially 2 months ahead at the start of next week. Right now I'm 2 months ahead. I want to be officially exactly 2 months ahead. And always stay no less than a month ahead. So that I just don't have to worry. I've got a buffer zone. It's like, oh crap, we got to leave town. No worry. Everything's taken care of. I'm not going to flounder my channel. So I'm doing that. I just confirmed my appointment for Monday. So that is happening. I am definitely not going to be here for a couple of weeks. Today we are doing some ordering, and we are going to reorder some stuff. And I'm going to be taking it easy for a few weeks. Basically, I'm not doing a damn thing. I'm not even leaving the house. I have been contemplating going out this week. I am still on the table about going out this evening. There's some stuff happening locally. And I will probably go out this evening this evening will determine whether I'm going out tomorrow evening or whether I'm just going to say, ah, fuck it. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Oh, holy hell. I didn't have dinner last night. I had Arby's for lunch at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I just went and laid down. It was all I could do. It was all I could do. Yeah, I was just wiped out. Wiped out. We'll see what kind of changes I can make. I'm assuming that when I stop smoking and just start eating the marijuana, it's going to be a huge difference. I assume that I am going to get less sleep and be less tired. I'll probably go back to my former insomniac self, which was kind of a drag. But I got a lot done because I was always awake and I was never tired. So I'd like to do that for a few months and then kind of readjust to where I'm getting the right amount of sleep every night and the right amount of daylight. That's good stuff. Good. It's good, 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 good. Yeah. Yeah. Still haven't been watching any movies. There just hasn't been enough time. I tried yesterday to set up my PlayStation 2 in here so that I could do a little Sims or something, right? And then I was looking around for some of my old computer video games that I was going to try to load up onto this old computer here, and I can't find anything there. So I wound up playing several hands of solitaire on my computer here. And once again, after about 20 minutes of playing, I found myself waking up right in the middle of a hand. So it was like, okay, I just turned everything off and went and crawled into bed. Yeah. What I think I'm going to do is go to Walmart and look through their computer games and try to find a disc that's got a whole bunch of old crap on it. Here's the retro version of all this stuff, you know, and it's made for your new computer. That's kind of what I need. So what I'd really like to get is a new version of the old games, right? A new playable version of the old Command and Conquer and Dune 2000. If I could get those, I'd oh man, that'd be friggin' awesome. That's awesome stuff. Yeah. I used to blink. I used to play those games for just hours and hours and hours. I used to play Dune 2000 back in 1998 at work, and it was a big manufacturing warehouse, right? And I had an office in the front, and I worked throughout the whole building doing various jobs, scheduling, creating samples, setting up tables for manufacturing, cutting plastic, packaging, shipping. I did pretty much everything that I could at this place. So I had my own little office it was actually a secretary's office in between offices, but I was able to get this little office and a desk and a computer. And I lived in my motorhome in back of the warehouse, right? in the morning, I would take my motorhome and I would park it around the back of the other building in this big complex, right? And in the evening, I would, when the place closed down, I would walk over, I'd get in my motorhome, and I'd drive it over, and I'd park it behind the warehouse, just outside the back man door, right? Not the big giant shipping door, but just the man door. So I'd park there, and I'd go in, and I would spend almost all evening inside my office playing on the computer, and I'd play Dune 2000, and the original Command and Conquer, and it was just, oh man, I would spend forever in there. And I'd just sit in there, you know, every once in a while I'd step outside and I'd take a couple of hits and I'd go back in, or I'd step out and smoke a cigarette, whatever it is I was doing. And I'd sit in the office and I would just zone out on this fucking game. And then I would get so tired that I would just go out the back door, crawl into my motorhome, crawl into the bed, and I was gone. Usually what I would do is I would park my motorhome into the back and get it set up, run the electricity out there, get it all set up, and then run down to Jack in the Box and grab some dinner, and then come back and hang out in the motorhome and have dinner and watch TV, chill out. And then when I was done with dinner, I would go back into the office and I would just stay all night, all fucking night in there, just getting my computer game on, you know. Talk about a waste of time that I just enjoyed the hell out of. After working all day, you know, 8-10 hours a day, sometimes 6 days a week, yeah, I would just, in the evenings, I would just fucking flake out hard. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Baby, baby, baby. Oh, baby. Totally. Well, I am still in shock of it being 2025. Now, people like Joey, who were born, right, this century, it's like, this is nothing, right? It's like, I'm going to be 25 in the year 2025. This is my century, man. Everything lines up. With me, everything still feels like it's in the future. When you're born in the 1960s or 50s or 40s or something, and you're looking into the future, the 2000s scream futuristic, right? And that's where I'm at, because when it changed from 1979 to 1980, I was like, wow, man, a whole new fucking decade, man. And I was like, what, 11 and a half years old at New Year's, 1980? And it still felt like I was moving into the future. When we got to 1984, and we were living in the year of the novel, the movie, 1984, right? I was like, okay, boy, did they get it wrong. But they actually got it quite right, right? They got it wrong because of the timing. They got it right because, take a look around you now. I mean, go to England, right? I've never been there, but go there, and no matter where you are on the public streets and sidewalks, you are on camera. I shit you not, right? Google it, look it up. Everywhere you go, there's a camera looking at you. They got more people looking at cameras than they do officers on the streets. That's crazy. The whole Big Brother thing is alive and well there. We got cameras everywhere in the U.S. You dare not do anything anymore anywhere, especially in a slightly populated area, because you're on camera everywhere you go. I see reports of burglars doing this and criminals doing that and trying to get away with all of these other things. And what happens? They get busted because they're on camera. You can't do anything nowadays without being on camera. You're walking down a street and you think there ain't fucking nobody around. There's 20 Ring cameras watching you right fucking now, right? Some people have cameras in their own homes on 24/7. Now that's a little weird. But they must be scared of their own fucking shadow, right? What if somebody comes in? I want them to have evidence to get these people. What if something happens when I'm at home? Oh man, get a fucking gun. I don't believe in guns. As they're choking the life out of the last thought that goes through your head. I wish I had a gun. Right. I don't believe in guns either, but in certain situations, let's see, Ring camera or gun, right? Can I do both? Why the fuck not? But to limit yourself to just a camera watching you get killed? Come on, that's a little dumb. Let's have a Ring camera, right? Something that follows you around, and when it sees you in trouble, it shoots electricity at your assailant. I don't know, but just a camera seems like it's not enough for home security. Home security, what's your security? A camera and a thing that goes beep, beep, beep. What do I got? A shitload of weapons and a dog that'll eat your face. No cameras. I don't want them to have any evidence of me beating the life out of you for trying to take mine, right? He came in, officer. He broke in a window. He assaulted me. So I beat the fucking life out of him. Where's the camera footage? What camera footage? You see cameras all over this place, but ain't that kind of cameras. Yeah, if that ever happens, don't let that son of a bitch crawl outside, right? Because then you're guilty, right? No, you make sure you hold that son of a bitch down and wait for the cops. You know, don't let that son of a bitch leave your house, because if you inflict any injuries upon that dude and he's outside your house, well, then they can't prove that this didn't happen inside or outside or what, and there's no witnesses and there's no camera footage because you don't have one of those inside cameras, right? I'm gonna plead the fifth. No, I would say that's definitely a way to go. If you're gonna shoot and kill somebody that comes into your house to assault or kill or steal from you, don't let him leave the house. Don't let them. As soon as they get away, you're in trouble. Make sure that son of a bitch stays there so they know. I didn't drag him in here. Look, see these marks? He dropped right here and I held his ass down. See this puddle of blood? There ain't no tracks coming in. He didn't bring this puddle with him. Son of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to break into my house, man, because I will beat the fuck out of you. You won't even see it coming, right? You'll be creeping around in the dark looking for something, and then all of a sudden, there'll be a bump at your crotch, and there'll be a dog in your crotch going, and then you'll be like, oh, fuck. And then you'll hear something behind you. You'll turn around, and just long enough to see a 2-inch diameter wooden club coming at your face. and you hit the ground. That's it. My dog stands there, drooling over your face, waiting for you to wake up so it can start eating, right? That's how it works here. Yeah. Big dog. She grew up in the wild. She's killed and eaten coyotes, all right? You don't want to fuck. I got a dachshund Chiweenie dog, right? A Wiener Schnitzel Chihuahua mix. And she will tackle you and eat your face off. She is a vicious beast. She has killed and eaten coyotes, all right? She's killed anything that is out in the wild. She's killed it and eaten it. And she's, she's 2 feet long and 10 inches around. That's it. And she has literally, 8 inches, literally, reports of her running by, holding on to something twice her size until she brings it down and kills it. Yeah. They send her out as bait for coyotes because she's fearless. But now she's retired. When she got here, the first 3 weeks she was here, she killed 3 squirrels just to prove that she could do it. And I said, you know what? You're retired now. You don't have to do that anymore. There's always food. You don't have to worry. So she don't kill anything anymore. She just lays there and gets the spa treatment from Sam. And he does too. He'll hold her down and lick her face, her ears, her mouth, her nose, her neck, her shoulders. He'll lick under her arms. He'll just sit and lick her for an hour and a half, right? And she'll just lay there. She'll fall asleep with him licking her. And he just loves it. He just loves to take care of the other dogs. And he'll sit and lick me. Last night I got into bed and said, okay, Sam, you ready? Come on. And he just came and sat and licked me until he fell asleep. Mm-hmm. Yep. But he's in charge. He's the commander-in-chief. So if he's going to come over and lick you, it's just his way of saying, hi, how are you? How you doing? Is everything okay? How's your pH balance? We're going to do a bong. Ooh, look, it's already loaded. Fucking A. Fucking A, buddy. Yeah, I'm here to pump you up and to pump my bong. Cover me. I'm going in. Yeah, baby. Looks like I have to create some more escape episodes. And yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Yeah. Bob Bailey is the host. As the star. That's a good show. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. He's an insurance investigator. And boy, does he get to investigate some great stuff. That's a great show. That's one of my side shows that isn't on every week. It's on once a month. Yeah. Well, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can actually load up shit right away. I can have shit loading up and shit creating. I don't think I have anything to do today. I think my wife has to go out today, and then when she comes back, we are going to finally, if I'm lucky, finish the installation of that ceiling light in our bedroom. It just needs power. I just need to have my wife turn off the breaker while I'm there saying, yeah, it's off. And I hate to do something like that one guy. I could turn it off and go over and check it, go back and forth and turn it off, turn it on, back. But you can run into mistakes that way. Besides, if you're messing with electricity, even if you think something is off, it could still be on. And you need someone to kick you away from the power if you're just sitting there going bzz, 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 right? I've touched electricity before, 120, and I've had the shit zapped out of me, but it never killed me. Didn't make my hair stand on end. Didn't make my heart race, which is kind of weird. I've been jolted pretty good before, right? And basically, it happens really quick, and it feels like somebody is grabbing you and shaking you really fast. Just like that. A lot of pressure and a lot of really quick shaking. And then the more you get, the more pressure and the more shaking there is. And then afterward, depending on how much you've gotten, the numbness can creep up pretty far depending on how much you've gotten, right? Electricity's no fun. Nope. Nope. I don't like it. There you go. Totally. I used to be able to do that real good. I think it's the hair is messing with that perfect lip to hand suction thing going on. Definitely the mustache. Anyways, yeah. Tomorrow's my last day here. I've decided to leave the Christmas decorations up until the end of this season. This season will end on episode 180 of season 3. That's weird. That's heavy. I'm not the guy that I would ever think to be doing something like this. Maybe once or twice, but for a whole year, over a year now, right? Over 250 episodes. That's crazy. All right, about 250. So it was a hell of an experiment. My plan is to come back. But my plan was to also live forever. And that ain't going to happen. So while I am gone, I'm going to start a regiment of, at my wife's behest, I'm going to start seeing, did I say that right? Doctors. I got to start going to a doctor. I know what's wrong with me. I already told her, I don't want to know what's wrong with me. As soon as I put a name on it, they're going to give me an expiration date, right? And we've all got an expiration date. The only thing is that most of us don't know what it is. We don't know what that date is. When is it going to be? Well, it's going to be... I don't want to know that it's 6 months to 8 months, or a year to 2 years, or we could try to help you, and if we try to help you, it could work, and we'll give you more time, or maybe it won't work, and you'll have less than you would if we didn't try to help you, right? So I have to take myself out of the decision making. At some point, I have to let my wife and daughter decide, you know, what should we do? Because I already made the decision a long time ago to just not do anything. I tried for several years. I went to the doctors back and forth, but I started to feel like a fucking, what do you call it? Oh, jeez. Where you think you're sick all the time, right? Oh, there, the word just came and went. Yeah. The guy thinks he's sick. He ain't really sick, but he thinks he's sick. And I can't remember what that fucking word is. Somebody help me out with that word, please. But that's what I feel like. I started to feel like I was just a guy who just was pretending to be sick, or just kept being afraid of being sick all the time. And what the hell is that fucking word? So, yeah, with a P. Let's start with a P. A protagonist. Yeah, that's it. No. So, I just, and them telling me it was going to hurt to find out anything else. It's like, they kept talking themselves out of helping me, and I was just like, well, fuck it. If it comes down to a matter of my insurance not being good enough to get me any good care, and you guys not wanting to do it because it ain't really worth it for you guys because my insurance sucks. So, I don't know. Hypochondriac. Thank you, Joey. There's one P in there. I don't know why I got the P. High pochondriac. I'm a pochondriac. I'm a high pochondriac. That's it. That's what it was. Yeah. People have been pointing at me and going hypochondriac for a long time. When I was a teenager in my 20s and stuff, people would look at me and go, there ain't nothing wrong with him. And I'm like, come on, man. But you'd know when there's stuff going on inside of you. I mean, a few years ago, after I had just gone through all this bullshit with the doctors, in and out and in and out, and I had been away from that whole scene for a while, and then one day, I couldn't even tell you what it felt like, but I felt a change. Something inside of me changed, right? I just felt like, oh man, I don't feel the same anymore. And because I've been living with it for so long, I don't remember what it was that I felt. I just felt different. Like something in me had been altered, right? Which is weird feeling. And I kind of felt like then that I had reached a point to where it was like, oh, fuck, I'm screwed, right? I'm screwed. Yep. So now I get to go to the doctor and find out how screwed I am and how much time I got left, right? Because that's all it feels like, you know. I wish it didn't feel like that, but yeah, if you listen to your body and you know what's going on, you know yourself, you've been paying attention, something happens inside, something changes, and you know it. You don't need a weatherman to tell you which way the wind's blowing, right? And that's kind of what I feel. It's like, okay. If something's going on, do I want to know? Do I just want to be sent home? I don't know. If I can be helped and it'll actually work and remove pain more than it causes and gives me some kind of quantity with a better quality of life, well then yeah, I'm on it. If it's just either way you're fucked. Which way do I go, right? Somebody else is going to have to call. Do I spend the last year of my life being ripped apart and radiated, even though I know it's not going to work, but I'm doing it just to, make a good effort? Or do I just want to go this way because it's going to be painful, but the pain's going to be more toward the end rather than the entire time? I don't know. What do I do? What do I do? I want a new body. Somebody clone me a new body. There's a movie that I think I want to watch, The Island, right? Where all of the clones are raised on an island, and then, raised in a place, right? And then when you win the lottery, you get to go to the island and live. It's the island. But it's not the island. It's an operating room where they take you in and they butcher you and use whatever parts they can for your original, because you're the double. Oh, man. It's a good flick. It's kind of like two movies merged together. It's kind of like Logan's Run and Parts, the Clonus Horror, which is a great frickin' movie. It's a great low-budget sci-fi. Parts, the Clonus Horror. Yeah, what the hell was that? What the hell was that? I gotta go check my camera. Looked like there was a fly or something on it. Was a spider. It was a creepy spider. Scared the hell out of me. Alright. Spider's done. Gone with the spider that sat down beside her. I didn't want it to sit down beside me. Hell no. I'm glad I saw it. I mean, it had to run across the camera lens for me to see it, but sheesh. That would have been no fun. Yeah, spiders. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm glad I was paying attention because, there's not much to do here when I'm sitting here rambling, but, look at my monitors and make sure that everything is copacetic. So it's a good thing I was doing that. It's a good thing. I don't know, did I miss it? I guess I probably missed it, right? I don't know. I guess I would, yeah, I probably missed it. I'm looking at my monitor that's going out. And it's pretty close to live, because if I do this, how long does it take me to get to here? I'd have to rewind the footage. Creepy bug. Yeah, see. I missed it. I totally missed it. Fucking bugs. Fucking arachnids. Totally arachnids. Yeah, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Well, I have my calendar, but I really have no idea on how to set it up. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and put it with the other calendar, our work calendar. Our work calendar gives us individual places to work and when and where. Pardon me. I think I'm just going to take my calendar and in, black lettering, just write the word work on the days where I have to work. Work 1, work 2, work 3. How many places do I have to work? And that gives me an idea of how much time I need. Because I can't say work at 11 o'clock, because sometimes we leave at frickin' 9 and go in, and we're done by 11. So I just need to put the word work on the days that I have to work. Pick the most common days without work and schedule things on those days. That's it. And then get with my daughter. So I need to put work and then my daughter and her school schedule. What is she going to need from us? What is she going to need from me? Do I get my mornings, but I have to be with her in the evenings? Now, that was fine last semester, 2 days a week. My wife would take her in the morning and drop her off at her friend's, and they would go to school, and they would come back in the evening, and I would run over to her friend's house and pick her up in the evening. So I would have mornings and all day long, if I wasn't working, to work on video stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that at least 2 days a week I can have all day. At least 2 days a week. Well, 3 days a week, because she doesn't do anything on Fridays. And then if all of the days of the week I can have mornings, then I can pretty much do the same thing that I'm doing here. So that's cool. That's totally cool, man. Yes, it is. Now, see, the real thing to do would be to have my teeth yanked out and be here the very next day, gumming it, or just go silent. But I don't know that I have the courage to do that. If I sit down here and turn cameras on the day after, and it looks like I can sit here and work on stuff and just be live, I might do that. I might do that and do a little bit of texting and the messages, right? And that might do it. All right, Joey. He's like, I'll take her to school. Well, of course, but you're like so far away, You gotta move on over to this side of the country here. And then it's possible. Yeah, but you should be going with her to school. You know what? Move over here. You can go to the college here, take a couple of classes. You could be an ambulance driver. You could take classes to be an ambulance driver, man. I don't know. It's a driving job, that's why I thought. And you get to go fast. I'd rather know an ambulance driver than an ambulance chaser. Them bastard lawyers. Oh yeah, if you were around, I'd say yeah, go for it. Take her. She'd probably say yeah, take me to school. Because on the days where she just got one class, which I don't know her schedule yet. On the days where she just has to be there for a short amount of time, it's going to be drive down, wait, and then come back. So if I have that schedule, I'm going to have to figure out something to do while I'm there. More than likely, it's going to be listening to a book or reading a book. Because going live from a car is going to be a little weird. I don't know what kind of service am I going to be able to latch onto the college through the university Wi-Fi. I don't know. So yeah, it's going to be kind of a weird... well, it's weird now because I have no clue what's fucking going on. That's the weirdest part about it, probably, is that I'm clueless. So, I hadn't wanted to push the issue because right now my daughter's not in school. She's on break. And I don't want her to think about school. Period. So, at some point when she comes out, I'll ask, so you want to sit with me and work out your schedule? If she says, no, I'm not going to push it. I'll be like, all right, well, when we get closer. But I definitely need to figure it out because I got a plan, baby. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm getting so close to being done with this live stuff and being able to free up this amount of time in the morning, plus all the time that I've freed up preloading my channel. It's like I've got to start some projects, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to start. It's like I have to jump off into something, and I'm not sure what that's going to be. Let me get a dog, see if she's ready to come out. So I don't know yet. Totally. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Anyways. Orale. Anyways. Yeah, Joey, I wish you did live closer. I mean, that would be so cool. I'd have somebody to hang out with. You know, and yeah, you know, somebody my daughter's age, close to my daughter's age, that's cool. Although she gets along with just about anybody of any age, any kind of people. She's kind of like I was. When I was really young, I was able to sit around in a group full of adults and talk to anybody on their level, right? And she was kind of like that when she was younger, but she was real shy. And now she can have, you know, intelligent conversations with people of just about any age. You know, she's not really into kids. She don't really like kids too much. But that doesn't mean that she's not good with kids, right? She's good with kids. She just don't want to put that kind of effort into little people, I guess. But that changes. I mean, I was into kids off and on. I would be okay with kids unless I had to babysit. And then I was like, oh, fucking kids drive me fucking crazy. You know, because I was babysitter a few times in my life as a kid. As a teenager, I was called upon to be babysitter, whether for neighbor kids or just kids in general from people I know. It's like, man, I need a babysitter. You want to come over and watch my kids? It's like, okay. Some of the worst decisions I ever made were babysitting decisions. My goodness. You know what? I don't think it's a good idea for kids to watch kids, period. Whether they're related to each other or not, or this kid's got a lot of experience babysitting. I just don't think it's a good idea. No. You know, kids making adult decisions for other kids is not usually a good plan. But it was the only thing that we could do. There was no other choice. Yeah, don't go out. Don't do what you gotta do. What you gotta do is take care of your fucking kids. You know, believe me, I've been on both ends of that. You know, gee, I wish we had a babysitter. I wish we had a different babysitter. I wish mom and dad didn't have to go out. I wish, you know. And basically it was, Mom and Dad are going to go out anyway. And are they going to go out and leave us at home unattended? Or are they going to go out and take us with them and leave us in the car unattended for hours at a time? I mean, literally in the middle of Hollywood, in some dark parking lot somewhere, in the back of a Plymouth, or 3 kids for like 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours, right? Just sitting in the back of a car. Literally just sit, or better yet, at in Hollywood, at an all-night laundromat, doing laundry. Little kids, right, with no adult around. And that was, just tell them I walked down to the store to get change. And he literally hitchhiked up, 3 streets up to Sunset, right, to walk the strip to buy and sell drugs, right? And word stuck down, I can't remember the name of the streets, but it was like Sunset and Hollywood, and then below that, and it was like another street below that, and that's where we were, near a International House of Pancakes at an all-night laundromat. And he would literally hitchhike up to Sunset and be gone 3 or 4 hours, or all night. And we'd be done with laundry and have laundry, and we'd be thankful just to have clean clothes, So it was like, it was, yay, if we get to go to Hollywood, boo, but we have to do laundry, but yay, we get clean clothes. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. I need clean clothes. I'm getting tired of sleeping in that pile of dirty laundry. I want to sleep in a pile of clean laundry. Because that was usually my bed. Was a pile of something. But I remember quite a few nights, several nights, a lot of nights of hanging out in dark, seedy places in Hollywood and the surrounding areas. Or just sitting in the car on a dark street in a parking lot somewhere. And it used to be, or in the van. We had a van, a big giant Dodge van, or a motorhome. Sometimes when we were younger, it was a motorhome. And the one thing that was always constant was we would know when my father, if we were in the vehicle, whatever vehicle it was, we would be sitting there trying to be as quiet as possible so we didn't get in trouble if he happened to approach. And we could hear him approaching. It was his footsteps. He always had these loud boots on. And we could hear those boots coming 50 yards away. And they would approach, and we'd hear the keys, and we'd all sit on our fucking hands and bite our tongues. And, yeah. A lot of nights being, just fucking scared to death. I mean, I get so much trauma as a kid just being left places, not knowing if they were doing this on purpose and they weren't coming back, or they were going to do something weird, right? And they were going to come back all weird, right? Or even worse, my father would get arrested and my mother wouldn't know where we were parked because he would drop her off at her place of employment. And I use quotation marks. And then we would cruise around Hollywood while he found drugs to buy and then would find a place to sell those drugs at a higher cost. And that's it. He would work out a deal and get a bunch of drugs, a little bit of drugs here, marijuana, hash, speed, coke, whatever, and he'd buy a little bit, and then he'd break it up into 2 things, and maybe cut it a little bit if it was coke, and then he'd have 2 things to sell, and then he'd take that money and he'd double it, and he would do that all night long throughout a weekend, Saturday, right? And that's how he earned his income while he was going to school. During the week, he was going to UCSD. and we lived in Temecula or Fallbrook or Elsinore, in that area, right? Somewhere, usually moving around. But she was working in Hollywood on the weekends doing her thing, and he would drop her off, and he'd go out and do his thing, and they had to do something with us, so they would either leave us behind, dump us off at somebody's house that we didn't know, or take us and then just kind of leave us somewhere. I remember many nights sitting in parking lots off of Sunset, on the downside of Sunset, in a parking lot just below where she worked off of Sunset, a massage parlor. I'll say it. I don't care. And looking out over Los Angeles into the buildings, tall buildings and skyscrapers and condominiums and stuff. And I would just sit there for hours. We'd be listening to the radio and 70s music on the fucking radio that was fresh. And I would just look off into these buildings and these windows with stuff going on, people inside, and I would just be like, I wonder what's going on in there. And and I would just use my imagination to just travel to these places, you know. Because occasionally we would get into some of these old buildings in Hollywood and Los Angeles to see people, to do a deal, you know, to go somewhere and do something. We would quite often be inside some of these old buildings, and I just loved these old Hollywood buildings. It was really neat being there at El Cid because it was an old building, you know. Yeah, totally cool stuff, man. But being in Hollywood back then was weird. We always loved to go there because it was better than getting left behind, right? And we didn't want to miss out on anything because we never got to do anything. So it was like, yeah, let's go to Hollywood. Yeah, well, you guys have to do laundry. Yeah, sure, we'll do laundry. You know, because we knew that we were going to get some kind of food that was different than the crap that we were eating at home, right? We were going to get clean laundry and go to school with clean clothes on, which was never like that. It was always dirty clothes. And, you know, we might actually get to go do something, walk up and down Hollywood Boulevard and go to the magic store and the toy shop and all of these other little cool shops along the way, get, you know, food that we don't get to eat, see the sights, you know. So going to Hollywood, you know, regardless of what we had to go through, it was still better than staying at home. And, you know, quite often staying at home meant sitting in front of the TV with nothing to eat, waiting, hoping that they were going to bring something home, knowing that they were out and they were having fun and they were eating good food and they were talking and playing with people and doing stuff, and we were at home, you know, and not doing a fucking thing and not really having a lot to eat, right? So I always remember, you know, wanting to go out to Hollywood, even though it was an all-night thing, and we had to work. I mean, you know, we were either doing laundry or sitting and waiting for hours and hours and hours, or we would be out walking with him on Hollywood Boulevard, up and down Hollywood, because he wouldn't take us onto Sunset, because Sunset was an adult street. That's where all the adult clubs and stuff were. Hollywood Boulevard was a touristy place. You know, there were the sex shops and whatever, but still. And I was always amazed at other people being amazed at him taking his kids. Hey, you got your kids with you? Wow, man, that's great. They take your kid with you, you know, that you take your kid with you out doing drug deals, right? And it was like, okay. I don't know. Sometimes we were helpful. Sometimes we were a hindrance. You know, I'm not doing anything with these kids around. Get rid of them fucking kids. I'm not going to talk to you with this shit going on. All right, you kids go over there. Wait outside. This guy doesn't like kids. You know. Yeah, it was weird. It was a weird, talk about counterculture, you know. We really, with the drugs and the hippies and it was just a weird way to grow up. Weird way to grow up. My daughter never had to go through anything, even the tiniest remotest fucking bit close to what we had to go through as kids. Poverty. I think that was probably the only thing that my daughter's had to endure through her childhood that we had to endure through my childhood. Poverty. That's it. But it's how you live through poverty, how you deal with not having a lot. That is, those are the lessons, that you need to teach your children, right? And my daughter has been like the happiest person most of her existence because, not because we have a lot of money, but because she has a lot of love in her life, right? And that does mean we didn't have a lot of money, but we didn't have a lot of love either, right? It was implied, right? I love you guys, right? That kind of thing. It wasn't like it is in our household. With me, especially, I'm an everyday I love you kind of guy. Every single day. Both my wife and my daughter, every single day, hear from me and look into my eyes and see me say, I love you, right? Every single fucking day. Why? Because it's important for them to know it, right? Not just know it, but feel it. Not just feel it, but realize that it's always gonna be there, right? And me being a constant reminder, saying, hey, I love you. Be careful, drive safe, love you. Have a good day, I love you. Every single day, at least once a day. Good night, I love you. It means a lot. It does. It really, when you just, when it's just implied, it doesn't mean as much. Because believe me, I grew up that way, where it was just implied. Oh, you know that I love you, right? Kind of that kind of a thing. Well, yeah, because you just now said it after having not said it for a year. So yeah, of course I know. Of course I would. Why wouldn't I know? Yeah. But then on the other hand, in my childhood, it was like, how would I know that you love me? Because you just said, you know that I love you. Is that how I know that you love me? It sure isn't by your actions, So it is words, it is actions, it is feeling, And it could have just been me treating my child better than I was treated, right? But those would have just been actions, right? And then again, it would have just been implied. I do all of this because I love you. You know that. Once a year. No. It's every day. It is declared that I love you. And that's important. Maybe more important to me, right, than to anyone else. But I know it. And when I say it, I actually feel it, whether I'm saying it to you or to you or to you, whoever I'm saying it to, It may seem like it's in passing, but it's not. It's not. I think I said that to Big Sandy at one point. All right, love you, bro. And it was heartfelt, You have to say it on the cuff when you're a guy. You can't just look into someone's eyes and go, I love you, right? That's a little weird. But if it's going to exit my mouth, it is for realsies, Totally. Abso-freaking-lutely. Yep. And growing up, it was always just implied. It was always implied. Every once in a while, I could see my father get a little misty-eyed, and he'd say, "I love you," but it was kind of like, it always felt contrived and forced, like he had to do it in order to prove to himself that he was doing good by me, you know. And my mother, I don't remember her saying "I love you" to me more than maybe a half dozen times, and I couldn't tell you when those times were because they just were not consistent. My mother was not one for saying "I love you." Well, maybe she was, but I never felt it, right? Come to think of it, she did. She had, you know, I do remember her saying "I love you," but I mean, it just didn't, what the feeling wasn't there, right? It was like an act. Like she could have been saying it to a fucking John for all I know. It just didn't feel like it, right? Yeah. I never got my parents, you know, and maybe it's because they didn't want me to, you know, they didn't want me to get it. They didn't want me to understand what was going on. So they just were as hush-hush about everything as possible so that they didn't have to come clean at some point and say, yeah, you finally figured it out, right? So they just, rather than drop hints and give clues and stuff so that I would figure it out on my own, they just didn't do any of that, right? But it was what they didn't say. And what they said in trying to not say something, it made me wonder. All through growing up, made me wonder. And then as I got older and I started to see how things worked and to see who they were and how their past was and who was in their past and the things that transpired during their past, and it started to dawn on me that the things that I was told as a child were things, it seemed like that's when they were dropping hints, when I was a really, really young child, because I heard stories about things and people and events and stuff. But afterward, as I got older, all of that stuff became more hush-hush, and it was like, no, we don't talk about that, you know. And even when I went and lived with my mother and her father in Arizona for a period of time, I still got the idea, big time, that there was something going on behind the scenes that I was involved in, but I wasn't privy to the knowledge of, right? And I wish I could have had enough knowledge back then to just formulate some questions and ask them, what the fuck is going on? Who the hell am I, right? Who the hell am I? And I think that's probably going to be that's going to be what this next season is. Who the hell am I? Who the hell am I? Better put that on a fucking post-it. Who the hell is this? Who am I? I think the best thing I can do for my channel and my schedule and programming and everything is not force it, not just sit down with a calendar and decide. I think what I need to do is just sit down with this month on the calendar and say, okay, look, I need to spend X amount of time working on the new year programming, live and unlive and borrowed content and original content, and how am I going to do that? So let me just block out specific days to work on that. Once we get that stuff rolling, I will then start blocking out specific days of the week for working on specific projects and elements and other things. But I think for right now, I'm just going to kind of leave it free and open and organic, and keep my programming guide here, keep my calendar flowing with what am I doing from day to day in my life, my daughter's life, my wife's life, our family life, work life, and then what can I then squeeze in with my channel, right? Because going to the doctors, that always chews up a lot of time. At first, it's just going to be locally, and it'll just be a matter of sitting there and waiting and going in and dealing with stuff. And then it'll be doing testing and going to the local hospital and doing testing. And then it'll be, okay, now we need to start seeing a specialist, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do those tests, and we have to get ready for those. And then it's leaving town and doing more time out of town and at the doctor and that kind of shit. More painful procedures for the tests, right? They're going to be invasive procedures, and that's no fun, you know. And then it's not just one part of me. It's like, hey, all right, Joey, peace, love, brother, take care. Stay in touch, dude. It's not just one thing going on. So if taking care of one thing, is that going to make this other thing really, really worse? Do we need to address this other thing first? What's going on? I realize that this over here is bad, but this over here could become worse than that in a short amount of time. And then we're dealing with this over here as well as this over here. But this is a long term, this is an immediate thing, right? It's like, yeah, there's like just so many things. So many. So what do you do? What do you do? Like I said, at some point the decision may be to take care of a couple of things and just leave the other things alone, because there's no helping it, and helping it is just going to make other things worse and shorten quantity and greatly diminish quality of life. So decisions. When you get toward the end, you got to make decisions that give you either quality or quantity of life. Which one do you want? Do you want more at a greater cost to your frickin' pain levels, or not? Or do you want to feel really good on your way out and have a shorter amount of time here, right? That's like taking a lot of narcos, a lot of harsh pain pills that just fuck you up and knock you out, right? Do I want to go that route? Not really, because I'm going to miss out on any time that I have left. So I want to stay as active as possible. Even though I'm in tremendous pain, at least I'm coherent, and I can enjoy the back and forth. I don't expect it to be good. I don't expect it to have a good outcome. I would want it to be all peachy keen and everything's good, you know. Yay, it's all better now. I can go back about my business and live another 20 years. I don't think that's going to happen. It just doesn't seem likely from where I'm at now. From what my vantage point now says, it ain't going to happen. So, I don't know. I know that I want to stay as busy as possible, as coherent as possible, awake as possible. I'm sick and tired of being asleep. The sleeping may be a symptom of something completely unrelated to what I think it is, which it probably is. After talking to my brother and his situation, it's quite possible that I'm suffering similar effects of similar situations that he is. Right? What do I do there? I don't know. When I've got so many things happening on so many fronts physically, I really don't know where to start, what to deal with. I don't want to get loaded up on prescription medication. So therefore, how do I go to a doctor and explain to a doctor that and still get help without him going, well, fine, I'm going to fucking help you. I ain't going to take any pills. I ain't going to help you. Well, I don't want to have all of these side effects and other things going on. I have enough going on now. What can I do realistically, without taking a shitload of pharmaceuticals, to help myself get better, or at least make me feel better, right? How do I do that? I don't want to get loaded up on pills and then have to take more pills to counterfix the side effects from those pills and yada yada, blah 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 blah. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. I would literally rather go out the way I am now than to have to do all of that bullshit, you know? So, yeah, no pain medication. I don't want pain medication. Don't give me pain medication. I'll eat gummies, right? I'll go that route. I'll stop smoking and I'll eat gummies. But I don't want pharmaceutical Norco pain pills that just totally block up your system and put you to sleep. Been there, done that. Don't want to do that. Nor do I want to take a bunch of weird prescription medications that are going to give me crazy side effects and run the risk of further damage, right? I don't want to go there either. You know, why do I need to take that prescription medication? What is that going to do for? What is it for? What is the fix that it is trying to do, right? Okay. Before I take that, let's research what else is available that isn't going to be that harsh on my body, isn't going to give me 20 other side effect symptom things. So that's where I'm at. So, you know, I'm going to have to do research and figure shit out, because I'm not going out that way. I'm not going out loading myself up with 20 different fucking pills every day. I'm not doing that. No. So they can send them home with me, but I ain't fucking taking them, right? I ain't gonna fucking do it. It's gonna be my wife and daughter holding me down, pouring pills and water and stroking my throat, right? Because I ain't gonna fucking do it, you know? There has to be a better way. There is a better way, but insurance companies say you have to eat these pills because we need to keep you in the system, and the pills are gonna keep you in the system, right? Some doctors good, some doctors bad. Some doctors all about prescriptions. Some doctors are there to help. I need to find a doctor locally that's here to help. How do I do that? Look, the doctor that I have now, I had to stop going to him because I would go in and he would look at his computer and talk to me and never look me in the eyes. He wouldn't get close to me. He wouldn't put anything in my ears or take my temperature. He'd let the nurse do that, right? He wouldn't look at me. And he would, halfway through our conversation, he would start writing on a pad to give me prescriptions. What's this for? Take it. What's it for? It's to do, well, is there any natural? And he'd take it. And he said, do you want it or not? Look, I'm here to write prescriptions, not to do, you know, what did he call it? I'm not a holistic doctor. I don't go in for remedies. And it's like, well, what the fuck are you doing with your book? None of these things fix anything. They're just treatments. They're just remedies. They're not cures, right? So what good are you compared to somebody who practices holistic medicine and is going to try to do natural remedies and stuff? You know, there's a big difference. You know, the natural stuff that you take probably ain't going to kill you. But these other things, you could run the risk with side effects, you know. Be sure to talk to your doctor before taking or stop taking this medication, right? Fuck. That's not the kind of stuff that I want to take. I've been on that shit before. It's no fun. You know how many months, years it took me to get away from antacids and antidepressants, you know, on my own. It took a long time to combat the side effects of having taken antidepressants for years, right? It destroyed my brain chemistry. It really did. It fucked me up. I had to rewrite all of my fucking brain wiring. And it took me a while to figure out how to do that. And I finally microdosed for 2.5 months. The tiniest amount, twice a week. And I did it. I rewrote my brain so that I could deal with depression and stress and anxiety and anger and road rage and all that shit. You know, with the help of YouTube, you know. Yeah, it's totally different. Sometimes I feel depressed and I feel like I'm in those old dark places, but I can get myself out quickly without having to take a bunch of fucking pills. Yeah, it's going to be there. It's always been there. It's always going to be there, you know. How you deal with it is what shows your character, you know. Are you just going to eat a bunch of pills and go crawl into some place until you feel happy again? Or are you going to fucking deal with it realistically, you know? Find out what the fuck is going on and learn how to take care of yourself. You know, most people don't want to take the time to learn how to take care of themselves, or can't because they're fucking slaves. I'm going in. Cover me. 6:20. It's 4:20 somewhere. Yeah, out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Right. So, yeah, a big part of what helps me is marijuana. But because I'm smoking it, a big part of what is hurting me is marijuana. So I think the change from smoking to edibles is like an ultimate necessity. I hope I can deal with it. I've always been smoking since I was 15 or 16. I've been smoking something, cigarettes or pot or both. And it's usually been one or the other. There have been periods where I've been both a cigarette smoker and a pot smoker. And physically it's just horrible. So when I smoked pot and cigarettes, I tried to regulate myself to just like a half a pack of cigarettes a day and a couple of grams of weed at the most, right? A couple of grams, geez. Yeah, that's a lot. That's like, a couple of grams is like less than what I go through on a morning show, right? I go through a half an ounce a week because I do a couple of grams a day just in the mornings. Yep. Yes, sirree. But I'm in like the best place that I've ever been in my entire life for the last few years, especially most recently. I'm also in the most physical pain that I've been in my entire life. Physical discomfort. It's hard to sleep, it's hard to eat, it's hard to think, it's hard to work, it's hard to do anything. Which is why my wife's like, you gotta go to the doctor, man. I can dig it. I can totally dig it. I know where she's coming from, you know. In her eyes, doctors are good, and I gotta defer to my wife's intelligence and my daughter's intelligence on some things, because I've got my own hang-ups about stuff. I see things differently than the rest of the world, or most of the rest of the world. So I just have to give in and say, okay, you know, do with me what you will, you know. So it's going to be working here, going to the doctors, trying to get something done while I'm there, reading. It's kind of my wife will be sitting there on her phone and I can be reading. You know, if she didn't have something to do, I'd be like, well, I wouldn't be reading because that would be rude. But more than likely, she'll be on her phone doing her thing, and I'll be in my own world reading a book, right? I don't like to have a phone out in the world, walking around, doing stuff, having that thing attached to your hand all the time. It's just not who I am. It's not how I want to be seen as a human. If I'm going to be out doing something where I'm going to be in a line or waiting or in an office or lobby or something, I'll have a freaking actual book with me that I can. They don't have magazines around anymore that are worth a piss, if they have them at all. So I bring a book, you know. I'm going to be doing a lot of reading. And then it will be if I have my phone, it's going to be listening to a book in places where it's just not feasible to keep doing the book and stopping and starting and that kind of thing. Then it'll be easier to just listen to a book and hit pause and do my interactions and then go back to play. I can dig it. I can totally dig it. I understand my wife and daughter love me and care about my well-being and stuff and want me to be around. And I want the same thing, but realistically, we don't live forever, and they know that. And, you know, a lot of older people are going to outlive me, and that's just the way it is. I've outlived a lot of younger people who've passed away at a much younger age. That's just the way it is, you know. I can't see any good or bad in it. It's just, it is what it is. It's just reality, right? So, you know, I just have to kind of accept that you get what you get. And you get it when you get it. That's it. There's not much you can do about it. There's some things that you can do. You can't run from it, you know, but, yeah. You just got to take it. You just got to take it and run with it. You just got to run with it. I don't know. What are you going to do, you know? All I can do is stay busy doing things that mean something positive to me and try to have some kind of positive effect on my family and the rest of the world. That's it. That's all I can do. You know, I'm not going to try to come up with $1 million and a bunch of property to leave my family, right? That's not me. That would be society telling me what I need to do for my family. I think creating positive, beautiful memories with my family is the most important thing that I can do at any time. So I'm just going to do that. I just want to feel good. I just want to have memories that make me feel good. Have physical connections with those memories that I can look at and go, yeah, I remember that, right? And then leave those memories and those physical connections with someone who knows, who understands. Let me check the dog situation. Be right back. And get a little bit more coffee here, too. Big Bessie. Go ahead. Go lay down. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go throw up. Go. Yeah, anyways, orale. One dog changed rooms, and one dog came out here. Okay. I think once I stop smoking marijuana, which I think is what's been taking my energy away, I'm going to have a lot more time to do stuff, not just everywhere, but little around the house projects especially. I always wind up with these stacks of material and things that I get to do a project, and then I have to wait until I have the energy to do them, like this ceiling light in there. I mean, literally, we get the materials, and then like a week goes by, and then it's like I plan things, and I get things started, and then a week goes by, and then I get halfway through the job, and then another week goes by, and we just get so busy, and then if we're not busy, I'm sleeping because I'm just exhausted. So, yeah. Now that the marijuana edibles are really, really good and potent, and they do a better job than the old, marijuana butter crap that used to get. Yeah, give me about a box of cookies and some gummy things, and it's just a different kind of edible now. So, I'm hoping that that's going to do the trick for me, and take care of my pain, and help with the depression and the anxiety and stress and all the other bullshit that goes along with this fucking miserable planet that we live on, and then try to keep the positivity in my life, right? And get shit done. Get shit done. Every day I write lists and lists of shit that I need to do and take care of, and every day very little gets ticked off of that list and more gets added onto it. And when you're getting to where you don't have a whole lot of time to finish that list, and it keeps getting added and added, it's like you're going to leave an unfinished list. And I don't want to leave an unfinished anything. I don't want to leave anything on the table. I want to get it all done, as much as I can get done, So I never thought I'd want to stop smoking pot, but I know I'm not going to stop doing marijuana, because it's like my lifeline, really, And on that note, I think I'm going to get ready and do another bong hit. This is probably my last week of smoking, too. My last week with teeth, my last week with this show, my last week, hopefully my last week sleeping all fucking day long. Last week with marijuana, smoking it. I gotta get those new teeth, new dentures and stuff. So smoking is a bad issue with dentures. So that'll be good. I mean, I know it's bad because it ruined my teeth between smoking and depression and all the other crap people put in their mouths, right? Holy hell. I'm trying to eat here. That's it. I took my coffee to warm it up. I left it in there. Be right back. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Oh yeah, I'm telling you. Did I tell you already? I think I told you. I'm telling you. Ah, jeez. All right. Yeah, so probably I'm going to say probably more than likely is my last week of smoking marijuana. smoking anything, period, is so outdated. Of course, everybody's doing that vaping stuff, which to me is more disgusting than smoking. It is. I don't know. It's the smell. It's the idea of putting chemicals into your lungs, like breathing in those chemicals, because smoke is organic materials combusted and burned, which is a horrible thing to do to your body. But we don't know the side effects of inhaling. Well, we do already, but we don't know the complete damage that these inhalants are doing to our bodies, right? And if you notice that for a while there on the market at supermarkets, you could find those Impossible burgers everywhere, right? And you could find all of these fake meats made with plant-based stuff, right? And lo and behold, they're not on the market for regular consumption any longer. I don't find them regularly now. It's hard to get that kind of stuff. And I think because they see that there's a lot of damage being done by taking all of these plants that have been toxified by poisons and bug killers and stuff, and then condensing all of that down into a food that is now concentrated gut evil, right? And I think a lot of people like myself were affected by those things, because I did eat quite a few of those things, experimenting, thinking, hey, this has got to be a better way to go. It's plants, it's not meat. And boy, was I wrong. Yeah, and I was going to try the vaping, was going to try the little thing that you put your marijuana into, and it vapes it and heats it up, but doesn't burn it, right? And I tried it for a little while. I didn't quite get the same kick out of it, so I sold it. But I'm glad I didn't. And from now on, when new things pop up, I don't just jump in. I watch and I wait, and I let other people figure that shit out, because I don't want to be the guinea pig. And ultimately, we're all guinea pigs to the manufacturers and the people who are making and selling this crap. Yep, we are all just guinea pigs. And at some point, they see that it's bad, and they pay off a few people, and they take it off the market, and then it's gone. It disappears, like Olestra potato chips. Olestra potato chips back in the late 90s, right? Literally was ripping people's guts open. Olestra. People were having bloody bowel movements. I'm sorry if you're having your breakfast donut or something, but it was horrible. It was horrible. I was eating those Olestra chips, and I was like, this ain't right. This ain't food. And now they can put anything out on the market. They just put a little thing down there that said, this will probably kill you. And people just gobble it up even more. Ooh, it might kill me. I'm going to eat more of it, Fast food places. The state of California has determined that some of the stuff inside of this place just might give you cancer. And what are they saying? They're saying that they're absolving themselves of any responsibility. California, the restaurant, anybody. If you eat the stuff, it's your own fucking fault if you get gut cancer, right? It's your own fault. We don't worry about it anymore because we've had this little caption on the window that most people don't even fucking read because they're just too hungry and they want to eat their garbage. And whether they're talking about the food or the cleaning supplies inside of the place, who knows? Either way, it's probably going to kill you. Either way, it's probably best to stay away from all of that stuff that we go to all the time because it's just easier because we're slaves and we have no time to take care of ourselves. So we leave it to the manufacturers and the corporations to take care of us, i.e. fast food and processed foods and shit. And my plan is to get away from that as much as possible. Start buying more organic, buy just whole foods, cook from scratch, make my own fucking bread, whatever I got to do. I need to, on my way out, I need to show my daughter a better way of life. and show her that it's easy to do that and take care of life. Look, you only get a couple of days a week to cook, then use that couple of days a week to cook yourself stuff for the rest of the week. Okay? I used to do that when I was in my 30s, when I was dating Mom. I would, every week, every 2 weeks, when I get paid, I would go out and I would buy enough fixings to make homemade bean and cheese and rice burritos. And I would make a shitload of burritos, and I would bag them up, 2 per bag, and freeze them. And I would make enough to have 2 burritos every day for lunch at work, and have a couple of extra burritos for days when it was like, oh, I just need a quick something, and then I'd have a couple of extra burritos. And then it would be all in the sauce and the sides and the drink, right? And that was it. And I was making all of my food for the week, for the entire month, twice a month. That was it. So I need to get a freezer and a dehydrator and a vacuum sealer, and show my daughter, look, here's a better way of doing things. If you want to have stuff in the freezer, have your stuff in the freezer. Like when I make chili, I make extra chili. My wife takes the thing and she scoops it into a bag. She makes a bunch of bags of chili. We set them in the freezer and freeze them. I can take that chili out, stick it in a bag of water or a bowl of water, and let it thaw out. And then by lunchtime, I'm having a bowl of chili. I go in, make a couple of homemade biscuits, get them in the oven, and I'm having a homemade meal for lunch, right? Even if you're just making pizza, freeze some of those pieces of pizza in the freezer and then put them in the toaster oven, right? Don't cook the pizza so that it's so crispy that you can't reheat it, you know? Yeah. So, very important, you know. My daughter has got great dietary habits, nutritional habits, right? She's really good about what she puts into her body, and I need to let her know that she's on the right track, and here's some other things to help. Because at one point in my life, I was really, really healthy. Riding a bike and active and doing all kinds of stuff all the time. And then there were times in my life where I was busy all the time, so busy that I couldn't take care of myself. And I was, almost 100 pounds bigger than I am now. Yeah. And, I mean, look at me. I'm about 6 feet tall, depending on how much I stand up straight. And I only weigh 170 pounds. I mean, look at me, right? Of course, I got gangly, skinny arms and legs. But I at one point I was almost 100. I was 170. At one point I was 265. That's almost 100 pounds difference, right? That was my heaviest. And it was all a matter of taking care of myself and what I was putting into my body and what I was doing with my body, right? So if I can get my daughter to increase her physical activity and regulate the things that she puts into her body better, i.e. making her own foods, yeah, there you go. Right now she's just into her first year at university, and she's going to be done with it at the end of next year, the next school year. So after that, I think she really needs to spend a lot of time working on taking care of herself physically, right? She's done the work upstairs. She's got it going on in her head and in her heart. Now she needs to make sure that physically she stays on that right track, right? So, yeah, here's hoping that she does exactly what she's got to do. And, I lead by example in 2 ways. Here's what not to do. I've been doing this my whole life, and you do not want to go down that road. And she sees that, and she understands it, and she knows it, and she takes heed to those warnings, right? But she also needs to know, like, look, I can also instruct you on how to live a better life, a way of life that I've really strived for my entire existence, right? And let her know that she's got a better chance of achieving that than I ever did, because she's off to such a great start. She's had better nutrition her entire life than I ever did, right? During her early years, it was really hard to get her to eat anything, because she just didn't like most foods, right? And that troubled us for a long time. We really struggled on what to feed her. It was like there were only a few things that she would eat when she was young, right? One of the main things that she would eat when she was young was Mom's chicken soup, and it was a Mexican-style chicken soup with little tiny noodles and a red sauce, or Mom's rice, Mexican rice with chicken in it. And that was what she ate, and that was the only thing that she could really tolerate, right? She was really finicky. That and the occasional McDonald's cheeseburger, right? But that was it. So she ate a lot of that. She should have had a lot more vegetables. Would have probably been a lot better for her eyes and her teeth and body and stuff. But, you know, we did the best we could. And I think if she, you know, learns a little better on how to take care of herself nutritionally, I think she'll be a lot better off than I am, you know, and find resources for how to exist without the processed bullshit, and find, you know, where to get your good organic non-poisonous foods locally, you know. She needs to get good at doing that. And then she needs to think about a greenhouse and growing food and raising a few things, and, you know, I mean, if she likes eggs, then get a couple of chickens, a little chicken coop, a little rooster. You know, it's not a bad thing, you know. If your existence allows you to have a little piece of land with the ability to raise a few animals and some food, then one should do that, really. Take it upon yourself to take care of yourself. Don't rely so greatly upon the system to take care of you, because the system will fail you. It has failed us in the past, and it will fail us again. It's failing us now. So, you know, open up, figure it out, you know. Totally. I'm going to do this one here, and then I'm going to eat a little bit of that cereal bar there. Going in, cover me. Totally. Totally. Yep. Mm-hmm. Hot, hot. Mm-mm. Hot, hot. I don't know if I'm going to be back. I may do a behind the scenes season. I don't know. Just to keep me on the camera, just to keep me doing stuff, have me live over here, and working on stuff over here, or sitting here reading, or whatever, working on something here in the mornings, depending on what the schedule is going to. Right now, my daughter doesn't go back to school until like the end of this month, so I've still got a few weeks here where I had planned to be off, but I just may not be able to be. I mean, it just, for me, the experiment should keep going. It should keep going through whatever I'm going through. I should have on my channel, because the channel is pretty much about me and my life and what's happening in my life. And I think that it would be probably hypocritical to go against my saying that this is the realest reality show out there. I think if I were to run now, it would probably make me a liar, right? That being said, it's just going to be on how do I feel. Do I feel comfortable the way that I look being on camera? I won't be talking, because I'm not going to be talking without teeth. That's going to sound too uncomfortable for me right away. Not until I get used to it, or at least get temporary dentures or permanent dentures in my mouth. And then we'll kind of play it by ear then. But I think at this point, I may go ahead and take a couple of days off, maybe a week, and then readjust my cameras in here and come up with a way to be here live, just be here unmiked, and do what I got to do, and kind of take you along with me, and leave comments in the chat, and maybe write notes with a Sharpie on a piece of paper and hold it up to the screen, right? I think that's going to be a big thing. I think I'll go through a lot of Sharpie and a lot of white paper. I think I'll go ahead and print out some things, some cards with captions on them that I can hold up to the camera or up to this camera here, so that you can see what I'm saying. Normal things that I'm going to normally say. Good morning, good morning, weirdos. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be reading, if you want to talk, please leave a comment and I'll get to it as soon as I notice it, kind of a thing. And just write up some standard captions that I can use for a few weeks, because I'm assuming that I'm not going to want to speak openly on camera for at least 3 weeks, until I get healed up and get my temporary dentures and start to talk a little bit and figure out what I sound like, right? And then just take it from there. And then as soon as I feel comfortable enough, then turn the mic back on. But I don't want to start another season. So I think this is going to be Elsinore Brothers studio behind the scenes. And I'm going to caption my live stuff in the morning. Mornings with Crazy Old Weird Bearded Guy presents behind the scene at Elsinore Brothers Studio. That's it. And I'll create some captions and some graphics and stuff for that. And every day I'll put up that graphic and go live and have a yeah. Behind the scene, and the theme plus sound effects, SFX. So I think what I'll do is I'll create I've got my morning opening with sound effect, with the theme music, Do Wackadoo, Clyde McCoy and his orchestra. And I think what I'll do is I'll start off with the music, and then maybe in the beginning I'll add some sound effects, and throughout the whole thing I'll add some behind the scenes sound effects throughout the theme opening of the show, and then throughout the close of the show. And then I am going to have to put together some Grateful Dead music to play. Behind the scene. Okay, so I'm going to play Grateful Dead music in the background. So I'll go live after my theme music ends and I'm live cameras. I will begin the Grateful Dead music, and we will have no microphone, and I will just have my camera taking a shot of this whole room so I can get up and move around, and on occasion I can have something looking down over my shoulder looking at what I'm doing. You know, and I think I'll put a camera back in this corner here looking down at my studio console, and I'll keep this camera here on the close-up of my face behind me somewhere in the room so that the full camera can see it. Yeah, and I'll just try to add a few more camera angles, and as I'm getting ready for the next season, you'll kind of be here during those changes and the adjustments and stuff that go on. I won't be saying anything. I'll be communicating via the chat and the comments, but I think that's the best way to keep things going. I can still work on stuff. I can still stay active. And what I'll probably do is use my new schedule to go live during my temporary behind the scenes schedule, right? So if I'm going to be able to do an hour, only do an hour in the mornings twice a week, and then the rest of the week I can do an hour plus my themed stuff, then I'll use that and do 1 hour here, 3 hours here, 1 hour here, 3 hours here, 3 hours here throughout the week, but not go mic'd. Just keep you along with me and get into that schedule. So my new schedule is as follows, right? I'm hoping I can be here the full 3 hours in the morning, and that I can still get my mornings and my daytimes to do stuff and to plan stuff and to create stuff, and that in the evenings I get the occasional evening to go live and do my evening stuff on occasion. But that's it. I want to be available for my daughter and her schedule, and I want to have a good schedule on the channel as well. A schedule that is fulfilling to me, as well as entertaining to viewers. So, I don't think that I'm going to get to do any voiceover. I haven't written anything, and I haven't had really time to sit and write anything or to record anything, and I wouldn't know what to say at this point. And chances are I will do all of that pre-production stuff for the reunion this month, while releasing some commercials where I might only use text, or I might get someone else to do voiceover for me, right? Depending on who I can get. Joey said he might volunteer to do some video work for me. So if he said that in earnest, I might tap him for that. I might hit up my brother, depending on how he feels about doing that kind of stuff. I know he and I both want to make it to the reunion, so whatever's going on in our lives, I think we should still stay geared up and focused on getting to that ultimate goal, you know, because that's going to mean a lot especially to us old guys who feel like we don't have a whole lot of time, or maybe, be getting more pushed in that other direction, So, yeah, I think it's real important that we stay up and focused on the reunion. Somebody just passed away again recently who I went to high school with. And it's like, wow. Wow. The 50s has taken out a lot of us from the 80s. It really is. The 50s, the 50s has not really been good to us. We're starting to see the effects of how we took care of ourselves back in the 80s, and then subsequently the 90s. But I think it started in the 80s with most of us, because that's where we learned most of our bad habits that we carried with us, and a lot of us just could not part with, right? And that sucks, man. That sucks. Even if it's just the bad eating habits, right? But that's the way we've always eaten. Yeah, exactly. And how many of you are left? Oh, darn, I see what you're saying. Yeah. There, in fact, I'm gonna eat a little cereal bar here now that it's all dried out. Well, it's dried. Mm-hmm. So yeah, things are changing. Some for the good, some for the not so good, some for the, it is what it is. Oh my God, like no way. Totally. I watched another episode of Square Pegs last night. Of course, it was an episode that I had recently seen. I didn't realize it because, I'm not like keeping track of the episodes that I'm watching. So it's like, did I watch this one already? I don't know. Just put it on. Yeah, I guess I did watch this. I'll just keep watching it. It was all right. I like the language. Everybody on the show has such a unique character and a unique voice and speech and speak, and it's just really, really a great show, an ensemble show with a lot of different characters. I mean, the Valley Girl and LaDonna, the Soul Girl, who are best friends, and the way they each speak, the way they would normally speak in their own home or their own town or their own neighborhood, because they come from two different sides of the tracks, right? The Valley Girl's boyfriend, Vinny, an Italian leather jacket wearing gangster type guy. And everybody just has, just such a great, voice, a great character. It's just Yeah, it's one of those shows that once in a lifetime show, never going to be around again. You know, same thing with that 70s show, totally different, unique show that popped up. Even though there's that 90s show and there was that 80s show, they don't hold a candle to that 70s show, nor are they on the same level. They're similar, you know. Yeah, in that 90s show, it's Red and Kitty Foreman, you know, the parents of the kids, the kid on that original show, right? But it's different. They've evolved. They're older. The house is the same, but the people in the house are different, you know, and there's a totally different vibe, you know. And it's a great show, but it's nothing like the original. It's its own thing. It just happens to be taking place in the same house with a couple of the same people around. Yeah, it's great. It's fucking great. But it's not. That 70s show was a one-of-a-kind thing. There have been, throughout history, TV shows that have been one-of-a-kind. You know, even though shows have come afterward and were developed because they are trying to capture some of the magic from that other show, it's still, it was a one-off. Like after Lost, there was a whole bunch of other shows that came out that would put groups of people together in places and events and things, you know. The 100, you know, or there was another one of those shows, you know, let's put a bunch of people together on a spaceship and not tell them why they're there, and they all wake up going, why are we here, right? Just a million shows popped up. Trying to capitalize on that whole thing that they did so well in the first 3 or 4 seasons of Lost, and then they lost it, and then they started to go in a weird direction, and then they had to wrap it up really quick because they lost interest in it, and it's like, all right, you got a few episodes left, wrap it up. And they wrapped it up the best they could with a lousy half-assed explanation, and it should have gone on for a few more seasons, or at least finished off the season in order to really complete the story. And they didn't do that, and that was unfortunate. You know, if you're gonna do a show, period, give it a life. Give it an arc. Give it a full arc. Say, okay, look, we're going to do the show for X amount of seasons. Figure out how to work that arc into that many seasons, right? And that's it, you know. And because Star Trek: The Next Generation decided they were going out, and this is our last season, and let's at the end of this season, let's work it out so that next season we're wrapping everything up and moving on. And they did such a great job with that it became the formula for the next 2 series. Deep Space Nine and Voyager also tried to take on that 7-year thing, and Deep Space Nine wrapped it up in 7 years and did their thing. I can't recall. I think Voyager may have done their 7-year hitch. I know that Enterprise did not. But they were able to do a complete story arc, and that's important, especially nowadays when you're trying to sell that series as a streaming deal. Well, yeah, I don't want to watch it because halfway through the story arc, they cancel the show. You know, and that's a bummer. You know, because there are some shows that I will not watch because there's no story arc completion. There's no fulfillment, right? It's anticlimactic. No closure, no full circle, you know. if I were to stop at the end of this series tomorrow and not come back at all or do anything else, there would be no closure to the story arc. In this channel, on this show, in this story arc, I think we're about a third of the way through it, with ending on season 3, episode 180, tomorrow on Friday. So, I gotta come back, or I'm one of those series that just came out raring to go and then just stopped. And I don't want to do that. I gotta have some completion. I've got to have a story arc. What I always saw my story arc completion, it was me kind of being old and used up and just fading out. And then that's it. One last show and it's over. And then he died, and that kind of thing. And that's pretty much, it's literally the way I saw this in my vision of my channel when I first got it going. How would this end? And that's what I saw. I saw me doing my stuff and doing what I do and talking and sharing and laughing and loving and living. And then at the end we find out some things that we don't want to find out, and we have to deal with those things. But ultimately in the end, I just fade away, and here's what happened, you know. And then I'll have to have some kind of video. Look, if you're watching this video, that means that I didn't make it, and this is the end, right? And I'm probably going to be thinking about making some of those videos really soon, because I'm going to have to start doing things and going through procedures and all that stuff. So this is the pre-dentures me right now, right? So that's fine, and I'm going to be doing some other videos. You know, look, I've got to do this, and this isn't going to be much fun, so I'm going to make this video before I go, just in case, you know. I kind of get a cold chill running through me, you know. 'Cause that's reality, baby, you know. And the unfortunate part is, I've always been, even since I was a little tiny kid, I've always been faced with so much fucking reality, you know. Just a lot of people go through their entire childhood and never have to know about the struggles that mommy and daddy go through. They never have to go hungry. They've always got a warm pair of jammies and are tucked in. And that's great for people who get that. But not all of us get anything close to that, right? So, you know, I've had to really battle and struggle and claw and bite my entire fucking life, you know. I don't know where the fuck I was going. I don't know. I really feel like the closer I get to wherever I'm going, I'm probably going to be on camera more and more and more, doing more live stuff, trying to create as many videos as I can. At some point, the programming of the old-time radio shows and the old TV stuff and the old movie stuff, educational films and whatnot, at some point that's going to dry up, as I don't worry about that so much, as I want to stay focused on passing on as much of myself as I can onto this channel, and at the very least onto video, so that I can take all of this video and try to organize it and consolidate it and make it manageable, so that at some point my wife and or daughter or future generations or whatever can come along and find it and use it for something. You know, use me as a psychological study, right? I'm going to be creating more and more documentaries about my earlier life, childhood and teens and 20s and 30s, and what I did and things that I had to go through, with as much information as I can, and write some stories and do a lot of live stuff. So I'm really trying to leave as much of me behind as I can, right? And not a bunch of prefabricated, pre-written bunch of like, I'm going to read this today, and this is what I have to say today. I don't want to do that shit. That's what I thought that this channel was going to be, is every day I was going to get together and I was going to write a script and do a story and have fun. You know, it's like, that wasn't it, no. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to get on there and just sit there and not engage and not acknowledge the camera. I don't know that you're there. Don't look at me. Don't look. And then I thought, well, that's not going to work either. And that's when I just started talking, you know. And then that's when it dawned on me what it's all for. It's not just for me. It's for my daughter. It's for my wife. It's as much for me as it is for anyone who has to go through anything like the bullshit that I've had to go through in my life, right? Because I'm just 1 in 7 billion, right? Alive, dealing with their bullshit. Not to mention the trillions and cajillions of people who come before us who have had to deal with their own bullshit. But I guess more so it's for the people after, who are in the middle of dealing with bullshit, and they need someone to come along and say everything's okay. There's a lot of bullshit going on. Just, you know, find something and get into it. Just do it for the good. Do it for positive. Don't, you know, do shit that's going to affect somebody else negatively. Do something for yourself, makes you feel good, but do it that in a positive way that leaves a positive light. I gotta check a dog situation here. I don't know. It doesn't. I can't tell. Clickety click click. Big dog was in her bed down there, cold. As soon as the tree goes from right here, her bed is going to go where the tree is, right here in my little nook here. So when I close my curtain, she's inside here with me. Mainly to keep her bed out of the way so we're not tripping over it and tripping over her, but also to keep her right next to me when I'm working, because she likes to be right with you. And she's a guy's dog. She doesn't like to, she won't hang out with my wife and daughter. If I'm gone, she'll sit out here alone. If I'm here, she'll follow me wherever I'm going. If I get up to go to the bathroom, she's like, where are you going? So she's really a guy's dog. So figuring that in our present state, one of us, you know, may not last too long, and probably both of us. So, hi Bessie. I just covered you up. You want to come up here? I just covered you up. It's gone already. I ate it. It's gone. Nothing. Look, nothing. See, no hands. Nothing. That's it. I'm back to drinking coffee and doing bong hits. Lay down. Lay down. There's nothing going on. You don't want to go outside, do you? Well, if you do, you got to go to the door. That's the rules. You can't just sit and stare at me. You have to go to the door if you want to go out. If you're at the door, I know you want to go out. If you're at the food and water, I know that you want something there. If you just stare at me, I go, I don't know what you want, dog. Tell me what you want. And then we just look at each other. And she's just looking at me. Yeah. So, I have no idea what's coming next season. I have no idea exactly what I'm doing. I've got all these plans and possibilities of what I could do. I don't want to stop the live stuff completely, so my new plan is to be done with live mornings the way it is now on Friday, tomorrow. And after about a week, I'm going to come back live with no microphone, and could possibly be low lighting, depending on how I feel about being in front of the camera. And I'm just going to kind of do behind the scenes stuff at the studio. That's it. That's it. And then I don't know how long that will last until I come back with episode 1 of season 4 of Crazy Old Weird Bearded Guy in the mornings. And then I don't know how long after that I'm going to come back with Minecrafting. I don't know how long after whichever comes next is going to be Nighttime Nonsense and Nostalgia, but I want both of those shows back. I want Video Time Machines to come back. So, I've got a lot to work on and a lot to plan for and a lot to do production and pre-production and post-production crap. Makes me a little, makes me tired thinking about it. Because in my present shape, how am I going to fit all of that into a couple of hours a day, right? Ain't going to happen. A couple of hours a day is this, right? So, and then on top of this, I've got my usual channel programming stuff that I've been doing, every day, a few hours a day. So once I remove that and squish that down to a few days a month, I gain a little time, but is that going to be enough? I don't know. What's up? You want to go outside? You want to go outside? Go to the door. You want to go outside? Huh? You want to go outside? Okay. You want some water? Some food? Something? All right. Let me see what she wants. Be right back. Come on. You want to go outside? Come on. Come on. You got food. You got water. You got a blanket. You want this chair? You want this chair here? Is that what you want? Huh? Okay. No? You want to go lay down back there? You want to lay down? There you go. There you go. I don't know what you want, dog. You can't just sit and look at me because it confuses me. And now you're back looking at me again. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go on. No, you can't get on the couch. No. Good girl. Go lay down. I still haven't figured out how to read her. Everybody else I can look at and know exactly what they're thinking and know exactly what they want, but she is just a sphinx. She just goes stone-faced. And I don't know what she wants. She gives me nothing. She gives me nothing, Other Sam will go over and he'll go to the food bowl and he'll look around, and then he'll come and he'll sit there and he'll stand there and look at you. And when you make eye contact with him, he'll look at his food bowl and look back at you. And it's like, okay, he wants food. If he just comes and sits and looks at you, he wants to go out, right? If he just sits and looks at you and you don't want to go out, you better watch out because he's going to jump on you and start chewing, right? And he wants to play. So, anybody else, I pretty much got them figured out. As soon as they show up, I can read their face. read their body language and know what they want. I'm clueless. She gives me nothing. That's it. That's all I can say is she gives me nothing. Every once in a while, she really has to go out. She'll do the little dance by the door, right? And I think she's learning that. She's learning to do the dance by the door. She doesn't always do that. She doesn't always know how to tell me that she needs food in her bowl. She just looks at me. You know. She gives me nothing. Yeah, I think I'm still confused as to what my schedule is going to be because I know nothing about my daughter's schedule. It's hard enough not knowing when I'm going to have to work because it's such a haphazard schedule. It usually happens over the weekends, which really helps with doing middle of the week stuff, right? Monday through Friday. That's why I'm doing my live stuff Monday through Friday, and then I'm doing my live stuff in the mornings Monday through Friday because that's most likely when I'm not working, early in the mornings or later in the evenings, and those two times are when I have available to do live stuff. So I'm hoping I can keep a similar schedule. I'm hoping I can keep my mornings 5 to 8, 5 to 9, 5 to 10, depending on how I break it up, what I do. I'd like to do a 5 to 6 or a 5 to 6:30 and then take a half an hour off and set up other stuff and come back with another, portion to the show. And then each recording of that on YouTube will be the morning show and then this show together, and then there'll be a segue program in between that takes me from one to the other, so I have time to change wardrobe from pajamas to actual clothing, set up different cameras, set up a table, and get props and things set up, because I really do want to have more of a show, right? So yeah, that's the plan, Stan. We'll see what happens. It's all going to be determined by my daughter's schedule, my work schedule, my doctor's schedule, everything else that's going on. I've really tried to encourage my daughter to not plan me so much for concerts, right? Because it's just harder and harder to recuperate from going out and being, driving 6 hours round trip and then partying 5 hours and coming home getting home at 2 in the morning. It's just hard and harder and harder to do that kind of stuff, as much as I want to. Maybe after I stop smoking, I'll have more energy. I know that the only way that I go out and do those things is if I don't smoke as much that day, and I can't because I'm driving, right? So it's like a given, but at the same time, it's harder to recuperate after that because I'm not smoking as much. I'm not dealing with the pain as much, and I'm putting myself through more physically, I wouldn't trade any of those moments for the world that I've had with my daughter. Even if the pain was doubled or tripled, it wouldn't matter. I'd still want to do it. But do I want to keep planning that kind of stuff for myself, even though I feel like it's diminishing my quality and my quantity at the same time? It's like the more I do this and extend myself to do this, the more it shortens my time here to do more stuff, right? The same thing with smoking. This is probably going to be my last bag of weed. I will probably take some and store it in an airtight container and have it as an emergency in case I just decide I can't fucking take it anymore, I gotta smoke. I'm hoping I don't go there. I really am hoping against all of my personal characteristic traits that I can actually pull this off and stop smoking. It's a lot of sugar to ingest every day. A couple of grams of sugar per cube. That's a lot of sugar. That's what gummies are. They're just all sugar with a little bit of gelatin, right? So I'm going to have to then investigate, okay, so what's the sugar-free alternative? And can I get something that just has a natural sugar substitute like honey? Can I get honey drops with infused honey drops? That's what I need. That are more honey than sugar, more honey than anything else. Did they do honey gummies? I don't know. That's what I need to find out. Is I need to find something that is a sugar-free alternative, because what I want to do is get rid of my sugar intake as well. And right now, switching to gummies totally goes against that. Damn it. So once again, I have to investigate alternatives. But nowadays, there are so many alternatives to anything. So, health-wise, it's a little late, and probably a little too late. Too little too late. But I'm going to try. At least if I can show my daughter that there's a better way. I might be a little late, but at least you have time to make changes, or at least not go down the same road. You know, if that's all I can do, that's fine, because my whole life with my daughter has been trying to teach her better. And as bad as I've done to myself, she's done better for herself. And I need to try to show that I can change, that it doesn't always have to be like this. And that even in the end, you can still do something good and positive, right? Which is why I want to stay with this YouTube thing, and probably keep this YouTube thing around to the end, you know? Right up to the end, you know? I keep having this kind of like a vision of me on camera doing one of these live shows in somewhat poor condition, and then just, you know, be sitting here talking 1 minute and then just kind of nodding off the next, and then just be gone. And the show goes on for hours and hours and hours until somebody comes in and says, oh my God, he's gone, and he's been live this whole time. You know, that's kind of the way I've seen it. You know, and I don't know whether algorithms would pick up on that and shut the show down, or not allow the footage to be live. I don't know. I would hope that whatever happens to me in the end would be allowed to be on YouTube, that it wouldn't be something so ugly and disgusting and violent and traumatic that it, you know, would scare people. But, oh my God, he just passed away. Something like that. Nice and peaceful. Nothing weird going on. No death rattle or whatever. And just, you know, nice and easy. Just like the shampoo. And that I could totally dig. Right? That I could. And it would give me some kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say celebrity status, but it would kind of put light. It would put some light on the stuff that I'm trying to do on my channel. And it would say, hey, you know, here's a guy who was trying so hard for decades to say, look, I'm here. I'm a human and I'm here. Recognize me and don't fucking judge me, you know. And, you know, I exist. I existed. Totally. So importantly, I'm going to put together more documentaries. because I feel like I've got limited time to do something like that, and limited desire and oomph and drive to do that kind of stuff. If somebody comes to me with an idea or a video project or something they want to work on, and it's not going to take me too far out of my other stuff, I'm going to do it, you know. So I'm hoping that I can still accomplish some of those things collaborating with other people. But I can't guarantee what other people want to do. So all I can do is say, hey, I'm here, I'm ready, I'm available. Come to me now. Or forget about it later, because soon I will not be around. You know, and for some people, it's, you know, they're not going to want to be around me because they don't want to have to think, you know, oh my God, he's not going to, you know, he's doing this, he's going through this, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You know, they take it on, they get too empathic, you know, or not empathic, but sympathetic, you know. Yeah, maybe it is empathic. But either way, they make it about themselves. And then they want to stay away, you know. And I just want to get involved, you know. I want to get involved more than I have been in my entire life. I want to be involved in my life. Because for the most part, I've been just as uninvolved as I can be, you know, in my life. For the first 30 years, I was uninvolved as I could be, just being a wallflower, trying to go along to get along, not really investing any time to find out who I was, you know, just kind of assuming that what others figured I was is that's what I was, that's who I was. Wow. Once again, it's almost time to say goodbye. And I'll probably be gone for about a week or so, until I feel comfortable coming back, being on camera, till I get things retooled and reset up here with new camera angles and whatnot. I like the idea of coming back with a live fishbowl view of my studio, me doing behind the scenes stuff with some Grateful Dead music playing in the background, and me occasionally holding up a note to the camera and texting some chats and stuff like that. I think I can do that for a while. I think I'm going to keep the camera back far enough that I don't have to wear a mask, and I don't have to feel like people are checking to see if they can see gums or something. I don't know. I'm just going to try to keep it going. Try to keep, you know, the same reality record of what's going on in my life. If I got to do doctor visit stuff, I may do short little videos and then put them together in a little segment on what I did today. You know, this is where I went. This is my doctor. This is what they did. You know, yada yada yada, and little videos along the way to explain what's going on and where I'm at, right? And what's happening. Because ultimately, like I've said before, memories about people are somewhat generational, in that the memory of you is only going to last as long as the people who know you can remember you, right? And if only a couple of people really know me, then once those people are gone and their memory of me is gone, then I'm gone completely. Come on, come back. Don't do this. Hello, am I back? I faded out there for a few seconds. Did anybody get that? Hello? Hello? I'm back. I had technical difficulties there for a few seconds, so you might have lost touch with me. Anyways, yeah, so if remembering someone only goes, or somebody's existence only goes as far as the people who remember them, then I want to be remembered by as many people as I can. Right now it's 176 subscribers there, plus the people I know, plus the people on Facebook, you know, and how many of those people are actually invested in remembering who I am, kind of a thing, right? So how do I go about being remembered for who I am, and not for some kind of farce that I'm doing on YouTube? It's like, yeah, he's remembered for doing those weird videos. He's that funny guy that did those videos with his brother, and then he became a boxer and then fought Mike Tyson. I don't need any of that bullshit. I don't need to be glamorous. I don't need to be a celebrity. I don't need $1 billion, right? What I need is to be remembered for the person who I am normally, not some thing that I've created to get likes and subscribers and viewers and all of that shit, because ultimately that's not who I am either. I mean, I'm just a guy, right, who's led a pretty extraordinarily ordinary life, right? My family, my life has taken some really heavy twists and turns, and I've gone through some heavy shit in my life, as well as the people around me from our hometown. We've all gone through a bunch of heavy shit, you know. So mine is just one story in a trillion fucking stories. But it's my story. And this is my opportunity to tell my story while I'm still around. So I'm going to continue telling the story in different ways as long as I can, up until my story ends, right? And try to go back and share as much about my past as I can, right? I mean, I really did a lot by sharing who my father was with the Vietnam slides and that family photo album. Well, I need to go back and I need to do the same thing with my entire life's history in the early years. Like, I need to go from pre-birth to like 1978. So I get pre-birth in the first 10 years of my life, and then from 78 to 88, and do the next 10 years of my life, right? Which pretty much encompass an entire decade. You know, each 10 years is pretty much right inside of a decade. So, yeah, baby. I need to really get into that and try to get the first 3 decades of my life taken care of before I got married, because that's what nobody knows about. My wife and daughter don't really know too much about who that guy was. They know who I am, but they don't know why I am, and that guy does. So I need to make some more documentaries on that guy from back then, you know, 70s, 80s, 90s me. Well, it's another day, another show in the can. Technical difficulties almost canceled me out a few minutes ago again. It seems like after, 3 hours, technical difficulties kick in and want to kick me off. And basically it's my programming here. My online broadcasting software just decides to go wonky on me. or the Wi-Fi gets weak or something. I don't know what the issue is. I'm going to see if I need to switch software doing this stuff, because I've got some other software that I might be able to use, so I may run some tests. Otherwise, yeah, I think I'm going to be back in about a week. Next week I won't be here. About a week I'll come back and I'll do live with no microphone, with some Grateful Dead music playing, and you'll just have a long shot of my studio here and just kind of be along with me while I'm working on stuff. Every once in a while I'll show you what I'm working on. Every once in a while I'll hold up a note to the camera or type in some chat or something like that, but I won't be speaking, and I won't really be addressing the camera for the most part. It'll be more like the first season, right? The beginning of the first season was like me just stumbling around the room in the morning drinking tea and doing nothing. But I really want to keep things going, and I want to keep the live stuff going, and I want to keep the record going, right? Because this whole channel is about me and my life, my past, my present, my future, what's going on now. So I thought, rather than take time off to deal with the stuff I got to deal with, why not just deal with it on my channel? So, yeah. So I'll be back live about a week after I have my teeth removed, and just have a silent show, a Grateful Dead music show. Because I can put on a concert and it lasts about 2.5, 3 hours. That's about how long I want to do my shows. So there we go. I won't be discussing stuff. I'll just be doing behind the scene stuff here. It'll just be this studio behind the scenes, and that's what my mornings will be. So what did I call it? Crazy Old Weird Bearded Guy behind the scenes. Yeah, Crazy Old Weird Bearded Guy in the mornings, behind the scenes at Elsinore Brothers Studio. That's got a long title, but that explains everything, and then I'll put audio hiatus, temporarily audio hiatus, no microphone. But we'll have Grateful Dead music. I'll pick out 5 concerts a week and put 5 concerts a week on here, right? That'll be fun. I'll have to grab them on this computer, put them onto an external hard drive here, and then take that external hard drive and put it onto this computer, because that's where my graphics come from, my audio and video. So there you go. I'm going in again. I'm taking a plunge. I cleaned my bong, and it needs to be cleaned again already. Totally. Totally. Some people drink. Some people smoke cigarettes, vape, do nicotine patches, do shots of espresso, take amphetamines, shoot heroin. Everybody's got their own thing. I mean, some people think, well, I don't have any vices. And then they're out there sucking down a cigarette and drinking a big, giant 44-ounce soda. I don't have any vices at all. Okay. You mean, no, well, I don't get it, right? I just don't get it. Everybody's got something, right? Even if they're just, I don't have any vices, and then they spend all day doing one thing, or thinking about one thing. Well, that's a vice, If that's what you focus all your time on, then yeah, sure, we can call it a vice. Just like we can call most religions cults, right? A religion can be a vice, The guy reads the Bible all day long. That's all he does. Well, that's a vice. That's something that, other people smoke all day long. It's just, it is what it is. I ain't saying that it's good or bad. It is what it is. Everybody has their own little things, So there you have it. There it is, right there in front of you. Pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, whatever. It's fantastic. It makes no difference to me. Yeah. I've got to find some kind of balance, some kind of equilibrium with my waking time. As soon as I get a handle on my daughter's schedule, which I think I'm going to ask her about today, and where I fit in, right? I'm going to have to start figuring out this calendar of events, because I have to go to August and I have to put the festival weekend, and then I have to go to that weekend and the week around it and figure out what has to be done. And then I have to go 2 weeks before that and a month before that and all the way to the present, so that I get things done on time, you know. And if it comes down to, look, nobody's investing in donating, so we're just going to break even on the shirts, basically. And if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. I got X amount of shirts left, and if you want a shirt, you know, then you got to volunteer and do something. Donations ain't getting it. You need to volunteer. And if you want some shirts, you got to volunteer. You got to be there, show up, and volunteer if you want a shirt. And that's it. And that's what it's going to be, you know. And if that's the way it is, then we do it at a campground, and we block off a spot at the campground, and we say, okay, we need X amount of people to show up and camp, or at least pay the day use fees so that we can hold it there, right? And then have a couple of people show up the day before and build a stage so we can have some kind of live entertainment that I will have to cobble together with people who are going to volunteer to come and play, right? If I can't afford to get people there who I want to perform for us, I'm going to have to ask friends to come and entertain us for free, right? And that's just the way it's going to have to be. I wanted to set up an 80s style music festival type thing, but I don't know that this is going to happen, and I am going to have to put down in some fine print somewhere on these commercials that, look, if this doesn't work out, it ain't my fault. It's because not enough people are getting involved, period. And we want to hold it here at an Airbnb with a lot of rooms and a big piece of property on the beach with lots of amenities. If we don't get the budget, here's where the budget needs to be. If we don't get the budget to do that, then we're going to hold it at a little campground right on the beach with whatever we can cobble together to set up at the last minute, right? That's not going to be perfect, but it'll be enough, right? I don't want to shoot for enough. I want to shoot for fantastic, right? So this year has to be about, most of this year has to be about August 15th through the 18th, right? So I'm going to be hitting people up. I'm going to say, okay, look, this is the plan. This is what's going on. If you're going to be there, you need to be part of making it bigger, making it at least big enough that we can have what we want. If all of us are involved, right, in staying at one place, then we can all, the dozen of us that are going to get together, the core, can get together and pay for one house and only have a little bit of financial bite per person, right? So that's kind of what I'm shooting for. What I would really like to do is the same thing with a huge extra budget for live music and for food and catering and events and tours and all kinds of outings and stuff before the event, after the event, and during the event, right? That's kind of where it would be at for me. But that's kind of on a huge budget, a giant, huge scale that I can imagine, but others I don't think really want to invest that kind of time and money into. And I don't know. You know, I may be reading this all wrong, There may be people out there right now who got my little donation packet and who are trying to collect donations and fill up that 10 donation slot so they can get their 2 free shirts and get me an extra chunk of money for more shirts and new shirts, which is ultimately, that's what the plan was, to make a bunch of shirts in one design, 2 designs, and get enough revenue from these shirts to create new shirts, so that now we've got 4 shirts out for donation. You donate, you pick your 2 shirts, then we'll have 6 shirt designs, and then 8 shirt designs, and then you can just donate your little bit of money and get your 2 shirts, and then the more shirts we have, the more donations that come in, the more of that money is being funneled into the event and away from the shirts. But I can only do so much in one direction. Like if somebody wants me to help them with something, I can only help them as much as they help me to help them. I can't just, they can't just say, come to me, help me with something, and then walk away. Because then I got nothing, right? I got nothing to work with. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I'm trying to change things in my life and free time up and gear towards doing a whole bunch of different productive stuff. And right now that means taking one last bong hit before I cue up the end credits for the show. I'm assuming that because there's not much going on today, we're going to get my wife out here before the end of the show. Usually she comes out and she's trying to get some coffee and wake up before 8 o'clock. But I don't think we have anything planned. I think we've got one thing on the schedule. I don't know if I'm a party to that, but I do know that I am going to do as much as I can today and tomorrow and however much time I have before Monday to really get ahead on channel programming, so that come Monday I can just stay focused on producing original content. The reunions commercials, I need to get those done for the shirts and the donations. I need to get a bunch of those created, right? And come up with a theme, well, not a theme, but a formula, a recipe, and make it a 60-second, 59-second commercial about the event, and do shirt designs. Each commercial will be for a new shirt design, and they'll be coming soon on these, available now here, next up, coming soon, more donations, and we'll eventually do these shirts, right, and get people on board with the shirt idea, but also come up with a really good video that explains what the event is all about. Look at this. This is Plan A. Plan A is to have it at an Airbnb on the beach with all of the amenities and bands every night and that kind of stuff. Plan B is to do it at a campground with a makeshift stage and some porta potties and that kind of stuff. All right. Plan C is everybody meets in town and we go and get together and do a bunch of these little events. And one night we all get together at one place and we have a dinner. Right? And that's kind of like the least of the best, right? So I would be shooting for either the Plan A or Plan B. Plan C is like, oh man, this is a drag, Not enough people showed up, not enough people cared. We got a half a dozen of us sitting in a motel room, having cocktails or whatever, sharing, KFC. And I would prefer that it'd be something more than that. Look, it's 8 a.m., people. Time for me to have a bong hit and sign off. Yep. Last swallow of coffee. Hot. And we'll cue up some end credits here. All right, people. Well, you know what time it is. It is time to bogey on down the road. I have got a bunch of channel stuff to do today. That is all I have to do, I believe. Oh, and work on a ceiling light with my wife when she gets home. So I've got that going on. And then I'll be back tomorrow morning, and that's it. I'll be gone for a little while. So please join me tomorrow morning, and be sure to spread peace and love and kindness and all that. Not bullshit, all right? Be kind to yourself, but and do something for yourself, but also do something for somebody else. You know, we're not alone in this world. We're together. So act like it. Take care of the people around you, even if they don't want you to, or they're assholes. Give them the benefit of the doubt first. All right, most especially out there, stay weird, because if you ain't weird, ain't nobody gonna be weird for you. Okay, people, tomorrow's the last day, at least for a week, and then I'll be back. So join me tomorrow morning. All right, people, love you. Have a good one. Adios, and I'll see you later. Bye now.